Chapter 20. In the quiet bedroom, the lights weren't turned on. In the darkness, Luo Feng sat on a small sofa to the side. He couldn't calm down. This strength is too strong. A normal police small-caliber pistol would probably only be able to make a small hole in that fake mountain. And the steel spike I controlled easily pierced through the entire fake mountain. Its power is tens of times stronger than before. The war between humans and monsters has lasted for tens of years. The reason why humans haven't won is because the monsters are too strong. There are strong monsters and weak monsters. Even the weakest monster would be able to ignore those small-caliber pistols. Don't even mention monsters. Even the weakest human fighter can block a small-caliber handgun's bullet with their muscles. Powerful monsters could ignore firearms. Only heavy sniper rifles, large-caliber heavy machine guns, anti-aircraft machine guns, and even machine cannons could pose a threat to monsters. Of course, some peak-level monsters like the black-crowned eagle can't even shatter a feather after being bombarded by a 20mm Vulcan cannon. That's truly scary. I can actually control objects from a distance. Could this be? Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. Could this be a spirit reader's spiritual force? Luo Feng doesn't know much about spirit readers. However, he still knows some basic information. Spirit readers are usually powerful fighters who also train their genetic energy. However, spirit readers, on the basis of genetic energy training, also trained in a second type of energy, spirit reader ability. This telekinesis was also known as telekinesis. However, whether or not it's spiritual force, I'll have to do some research in the future to confirm, thought Luo Feng to himself. Ever since he was young, he's only seen one spirit reader. That's the mysterious black-robed, silver-haired man that Yangzhou City's dojo of Limit's chief instructor Wu Tong called Captain. The piercing power of the steel spike is strong, but monsters like the black-crowned eagle can ignore firearms. Only laser cannons and nuclear weapons can threaten them. Luo Feng was clear that even though his current strength is shocking, there are many existences that are 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times stronger than him. For example, the powerful fighter that killed the black-crowned eagle on the internet. His body can move faster than the speed of sound. He can split the black-crowned eagle in half with one blade. He can destroy a 6-story residential building with one kick. This was a peerless expert among martial artists. As for the world's strongest Hong, the world's second strongest god of thunder, and so on, they can make the 5 great countries talk to them as equals. Luo Feng took a deep breath. To be able to let a country and an individual speak on equal terms, one could only imagine how shocking the power of such a warrior was. Even if I control the steel spike right now, I probably won't even be able to touch his body, Luo Feng reminded himself. Even though he was very strong, there were still many strong people. Although this was a reminder. However, those absolute warriors were too far away from Luo Feng. With Luo Feng's current strength, he could definitely let his parents and brother live a good life. Work hard. I'm still young. Maybe in the future I'll be able to step into the circle of the world's top fighters. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. In this quiet bedroom, Luo Feng awakened his ability, and at the same time, he was so excited that he couldn't sleep. Forget it. I'm too excited today. I'm afraid it'll be hard for me to sleep. Let's just focus on genetic energy training. Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the bed with his palms facing the sky position. He closed his eyes and started training. Because of his first experience and the fact that he already had genetic energy in his body, so he could easily sense the existence of a universe energy. The universe energy flowed into his body through the soles of his feet, palms, and the Bai Hui point on the top of his head. The speed at which I'm absorbing the universe energy seems to be a bit faster today. The universe energy flowed through the 5 channels into Luo Feng's body. Every single cell in his body was crazily swallowing this mysterious universe energy. After the cells, mitochondria, the universe energy was converted into genetic energy. My head. Luo Feng felt that quite a bit of the universe energy flowed into his brain and gathered in his mind. Boom! As if his entire soul was trembling, Luo Feng shockingly discovered that his consciousness was in a mysterious place. This mysterious place was boundless and had an endless amount of fog surrounding it. In the middle of this fog was a dark golden ball. This dark golden ball was like a star that slowly rotated. At the same time, it emitted waves of fog, causing the fog in this mysterious place to constantly increase. This fog, is it spiritual force? Luo Feng easily felt the power of this fog. It was the spiritual force that he used to control objects. And Luo Feng could clearly see that threads of transparent energy were continuously seeping into this mysterious place from the outside world. Then, they were quickly assimilated into the fog. Luo Feng's consciousness also felt that this transparent energy was universe energy. The fog is spiritual force, and the transparent energy is universe energy. The universe energy is absorbed here and converted into spiritual force. And my spiritual force extends out from my brain. Luo Feng's heart jumped. This is my brain? Or is this my realm of consciousness? The Sea of Consciousness was a special name for the mind of a martial artist. Why is there a dark golden ball in the center of my realm of consciousness? Luo Feng's consciousness observed curiously. This slowly rotating dark golden ball continuously emitted waves of fog, spiritual force. As it emitted waves of spiritual force, Luo Feng felt that his realm of consciousness was very comfortable. I've fainted a few times since I was young, and it's probably because of this dark golden ball. Luo Feng had a feeling. Dark golden ball, releasing spiritual force. And in the past, I didn't have any spiritual force. I only had it this time after I fainted. Luo Feng thought. Then this dark golden ball probably released a large amount of spiritual force while I fainted this time. Not only did it give me a powerful spiritual force, but it also changed my body. His body fitness level is strong, but compared to spiritual force, it's far from enough. Oh, right. When a group of prisoners attacked me before, one of them released a throwing knife. When the throwing knife was about to pierce through my shoulder, it suddenly changed direction. It should be because of my spiritual force. Luo Feng was able to easily deduce the truth based on the situation. Indeed, the dark golden ball did release a large amount of spiritual force while he fainted this time. But in reality, on the night of Luo Feng's first day in the prison, when he started his genetic energy training and absorbed universe energy, it already caused a change in his realm of consciousness. Even if the throwing knife didn't cause the dark golden ball to release a large amount of spiritual force in advance, with the passage of time, he would naturally possess psychic power. The sneak attack by the throwing knife only caused Luo Feng to awaken earlier. When I fainted in the past, it was most likely because of this dark golden ball. But now, the dark golden ball is continuously releasing spiritual force, so it shouldn't make me faint anymore. Luo Feng felt. Just like a dam blocking a flood, the dark golden ball was unable to release spiritual force in the past. That's why Luo Feng had headaches every day. Now that he has a channel to release his spiritual force, he should be fine. The next morning, when Luo Feng left his bedroom and went downstairs, he saw a person sitting in the living room. Mr. Luo Feng, good morning. The man in military uniform stood up and smiled. Hello. Luo Feng was confused. Where is this place and why am I here? Also, I don't think I've seen you before. The military officer smiled. Let me introduce myself. I am Xian Region Jail's Dong, and this is my Xian Region's military recuperation area. Mr. Luo Feng, I can't believe you've already passed the prospective fighter exam. Our jail naturally doesn't have the right to lock you up, Mr. Luo Feng. So you have the right to go home. Go home now. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng didn't find it strange that Luo Feng beat up so many prisoners yesterday, especially when his fists and feet hit the metal tables and stools. I want to ask, just who want to harm me? Luo Feng frowned. The military officer slightly hesitated. If your jail can't answer, I'll go through the dojo of limits and apply to Jiangnan City Security Bureau to investigate everything, said Luo Feng. Once this gets out, people will know that a prospective fighter was surrounded and attacked in the jail, and that the jail actually protected the criminal. The higher-ups of the jail will definitely be in trouble. The military officer laughed. Mr. Luo Feng, don't worry. This is what happened. According to our investigation, a local gangster named Zhou Huayang arranged for these prisoners to attack you. According to our investigation, they were preparing to break one of your legs and one of your arms. Oh. Luo Feng frowned. Break one of my arms and one of my legs? How cruel. Did they want to cripple me? I don't know this Zhou Huayang. Who told him to do it? The military officer replied. We've already interrogated Zhou Huayang. It was a young man named Zhang Hao Bai who asked for his help. Zhang Hao Bai? Luo Feng's gaze turned cold. How reckless. He really doesn't know the meaning of death. The military officer smiled. Luo Feng, you can choose to apply to Jiangnan City Security Bureau to arrest Zhang Hao Bai. He ordered people to harm a prospective fighter, which is a heavy crime. It's normal for him to be sentenced to 20 years in prison. Don't blame me for speaking out of turn. This Zhang Hao Bai's uncle is also a fighter, said the military officer. Luo Feng, you can ignore his uncle and apply to the Security Bureau to arrest Zhang Hao Bai. The Security Bureau is in charge of fighters, so they have a lot of power. Uncle Zhang Hao Bai can't affect the Security Bureau's work. Even if it means offending his uncle, you still have to deal with Zhang Hao Bai. Let him mediate in private and have the Zhang family pay. Luo Feng, you can decide everything, the military officer smiled. I've already conveyed my message. Mr. Luo Feng, your cell phone and other items are all here. Luo Feng nodded. Mediate in private and have the other party pay a large amount of money? Or do you have to deal with Zhang Hao Bai? Hello, Dad. Luo Feng picked up his cell phone and made a call. I've already left the jail. I'll be home soon and have breakfast. Don't worry, Dad. Your son is very strong now. How could anything happen to him? Chapter 21. On the morning of Luo Feng's release from the prison, in an antique tea house in the Xi'an region, there was only Zhou Huayang and Zhang Hao Bai in a private room. The teacups in front of them were steaming hot and fragrant. Brother Zhou, why did you call me here so early in the morning? Zhang Hao Bai lowered his voice and asked softly, Is it the result of that matter? If it's really done, Brother Zhou, don't worry. Money is definitely not a problem. Zhang Hao Bai was a bit excited to see if Luo Feng really had one of his legs and one of his arms broken. Zhou Huayang sat there. His face slowly sank, and he didn't say a word. Brother Zhou? Zhang Hao Bai felt that the atmosphere wasn't right, and said quietly, Brother Zhou, you say something. Zhang Hao Bai, you sure are cruel. You drag me down with you even if you want to die. Zhou Huayang laughed coldly as he looked at Zhang Hao Bai. What happened to me? Zhang Hao Bai was confused and hurriedly said, Brother Zhou, just what happened? Tell me clearly. Zhang Hao Bai felt that something was wrong from Zhou Huayang's tone and expression. However, Zhang Hao Bai really didn't know what happened. Zhou Huayang took in a deep breath and said quietly, Zhang Hao Bai, you want me to ask someone to break one of Luo Feng's arms and leg, right? Yes, why? Zhang Hao Bai nodded. Why? Zhou Huayang's voice was cold as he sneered. The Luo Feng you want to deal with is a prospective fighter. Prospective fighter? Zhang Hao Bai was stunned. Silence. The private room was silent. Zhang Hao Bai's face was pale, and he sat there dumbly, without moving. Beads of sweat continuously seeped out of his forehead. Zhou Huayang laughed coldly as he sat on the side. He held his teacup and drank mouthful after mouthful of tea without saying anything. How could it be like this? How could it be like this? Zhang Hao Bai no longer had any jealousy, only fear. His family is rich, so he was clear about the privileges a prospective fighter has. He actually sent someone to break a prospective fighter's arm and leg. A prospective fighter can just ask Jiangnan City Security Bureau to come and arrest him. Once he enters the Security Bureau, his life will be over. No. Zhang Hao Bai's face was pale. Are you stupid now that you know fear? Zhou Huayang angrily smashed the cup on the table and shouted, Damn, you idiot, if you really want to die, don't drag me with you. You want me to arrange for someone to break a leg and an arm of a prospective martial artist? Once he reports this to the Security Bureau, I'll be in big trouble. Zhou Huayang gnashed his teeth in anger. Brother Zhou, what should I do? What should I do? Zhang Haobai said, I don't want to be caught by the Security Bureau. Tell me, what should I do now? Security Bureau? To ordinary citizens, it was a mysterious and terrifying place. If the Security Bureau could be mobilized to arrest someone, then his life would be over. By the way, Brother Zhou, did you sell me out? Zhang Haobai's eyes lit up as he spoke. Only Zhou Huayang knew that he asked Zhou Huayang to do this. If Zhou Huayang didn't sell him out, then there was still room for negotiation. What are you thinking about, you son of a bitch? Zhou Huayang angrily stood up and pointed angrily at Zhang Haobai. The government's already here to interrogate me, and I still dare not speak? If I don't speak, I'll die for you. Zhang Haobai froze. Indeed, if Zhou Huayang didn't sell him out, then Zhou Huayang himself would be in big trouble. I only came to tell you because we've been friends for so many years. Just in case you get caught by the Security Bureau without even knowing what's going on. Zhou Huayang sneered. I advise you to go back and discuss this with your dad. Your dad has more connections than you. He'll definitely do things better than you. Brother, your brother Zhou can't keep you company anymore. I'll be leaving first. I've already paid the bill for this table. You don't need to pay. As he finished, Zhou Huayang opened the door and walked out. Only Zhang Haobai was left in the room. How could this be? Zhang Haobai sat on the chair and shook his head. He still couldn't believe it. How? How could he be a prospective martial artist? Before the high school exams, his fist strength was only 800 kilograms. How many days has it been? How could he become a prospective martial artist? No, I don't want to get caught by the Security Bureau. Dad, I'll go find Dad. Zhang Haobai's face was pale as he quickly rushed out of the tea house and went home as fast as he could. At home, Zhang Haobai sat on the sofa in the living room with his fists tightly clenched and his body slightly trembling. Ka! The door opened. Haobai, why did you call me so urgently? You even said that if I come back late, you'll die? Zhang Zilong, who had rushed back from the company, pushed open the door and walked in. Seeing his son's face, his heart skipped a beat. He thought to himself, not good, Haobai, this kid probably caused a huge disaster. Dad, I caused trouble. Zhang Haobai lifted his head and looked at his father. It was just a few simple words. I'm in trouble. Zhang Zilong's heart went cold. Tell me, what exactly happened? Tell me everything in detail. Don't leave anything out. Tell me everything clearly. Zhang Zilong's expression became serious. Even though he knew the situation was troublesome, Zhang Zilong didn't panic. After all, he survived the Grand Nirvana period. What hasn't he seen before? Zhang Haobai took a deep breath. It's like this. Last time at my house, a decorating company sent furniture. From start to finish, Zhang Haobai didn't dare hide anything and told him everything. You actually dare to find people to cripple a prospective fighter? Zhang Zilong stared. I didn't know. Zhang Haobai panicked after being stared at by his father. If I knew, I wouldn't have done it even if you beat me to death. Zhang Zilong took a deep breath. He didn't say anything and took out his phone to make a call. Doo-doo-dee. A sound rang from Zhang Zilong's phone. Zhang Zilong couldn't help but frown. What is it, Dad? Zhang Haobai asked. I'm calling your uncle, but your uncle is currently hunting monsters outside of the headquarters city. Zhang Zilong sat on the sofa. Wait for your uncle to call back. Outside of the headquarters city, there might be a monster hiding somewhere. That's why they usually look for a safe place to communicate with people in the city. After a while, Big brother, what is it? A low voice rang. I'm a bit busy right now. Ahu, this isn't a small matter. Your nephew is in big trouble. As Zhang Zilong said this, his eyes turned red. What trouble did Haobai get into? Big brother, tell me. I'm listening. Zhang Zilong's little brother, Zhang Zhe, whose voice rang. It's like this. Zhang Zilong immediately repeated what his son just said. The phone went silent for a bit, then Zhang Zhe, whose voice rang. Haobai, this kid dares to cause trouble for a prospective fighter. He's too daring. How about this, from today on, Haobai, stay at home every day and don't go out and cause trouble. And don't go see that Luo Feng again. Understood. Uncle, Zhang Haobai seemed to be holding onto his last straw as he nodded. Okay, you guys don't need to do anything, the voice on the phone continued. wait for me to come back. Even if the security bureau comes and captures you, don't do anything else. Don't do anything else. Just wait for me to come back. My mission this time is quite important, so I'll probably be back in 1 or 2 months. Okay, Zhang Haobai nodded. Don't worry, Haobai. You're my big brother's only son, so I'll protect you no matter what. The voice on the phone continued. Big brother, the captain is calling me, so I'll say no more. Remember, don't do anything else, and wait for me to come back. After hanging up, Zhang Zilong and Zhang Haobai let out a sigh of relief. The Zhang family was worried, but Luo Feng's family was very happy. After dinner, Luo Feng brought his little brother, Luo Hua, from upstairs to the sector. Luo Feng pushed his wheelchair and took a stroll in the sector. Bro, we've lived in this sector for over 10 years. Mom and Dad have lived here for over 20 years. Luo Hua raised his head and looked at the sector. The residential buildings in the sector were very dense, and there was very little greenery. In the future, we'll leave this place and live in that Mingyu sector. I'll go out for a walk every day, so I'll be fine by myself. Going up and down the stairs every day was extremely difficult for the wheelchair-bound Luo Hua. Okay, Luo Feng smiled and nodded as he pushed his wheelchair. Hua, in the future, we won't have to be in the sun all year round, and we won't have to stay in that small room all year round. Mom and Dad won't have to sleep on the sofa anymore. Luo Hua nodded. This day, they've been looking forward to it for a long time. Someone's coming. Luo Hua raised his head and looked forward. A young man wearing glasses smiled as he walked over. He first smiled towards Luo Hua in the wheelchair and then looked towards Luo Feng. Brother Luo, right? You are? Luo Feng looked suspiciously at this person. This young man slightly smiled. Brother Luo. Hello, my name is Zhou Huayang. I wonder if Brother Luo has time to find a place to chat? Chapter 22. Zhou Huayang. Luo Feng's heart jumped. So it's him. The officer in the jail said that Zhang Haobai asked Zhou Huayang for help and arranged for people to deal with him. You are Zhou Huayang. Luo Feng let out a smile. Zhou Huayang felt a knot in his heart. Under Luo Feng's gaze, he couldn't help but to panic. If Luo Feng really wanted to deal with him, he would be in big trouble. Zhou Huayang maintained his smiling face. That's right. Brother Luo, shall we find a place to talk? All right. Luo Feng nodded. I have something to discuss with you too. On a street not far from the Southern Shore sector, there's a Yangzhou bathhouse. This bathhouse is a relatively expensive place. Even a small suite costs at least $1,000. Even though Luo Feng has heard of this place, he's never been inside. This time, he came with his brother and Zhou Huayang. Yangzhou bathhouse was a place that integrated bathing, foot soaking, leisure, and entertainment. Okay, you can leave. I'll call you if there's anything else. Zhou Huayang instructed in one of the suites of the Yangzhou bathhouse. Yes, sir. The waiter left the suite. There were a total of 3 rooms in the suite, one of which was a bathroom for bathing. The second room was a lounge for tea and business meetings. The third room was an entertainment room for surfing the internet, watching TV, and singing. Wah, just play around in this room. I have something to discuss with this Zhou Huayang, laughed Luo Feng. Go, brother. Luo Hua pulled the wheel, and the wheelchair went directly to the computer. Luo Hua was a little excited. TSK, a 46-inch ultra-thin screen, voice-activated system, awesome. Luo Feng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. His family's laptop was of the lowest level, and the operating system was manual. A few $100s for one was extremely cheap. Nowadays, almost all of the luxurious notebooks were voice-activated, and there were even legendary top-notch ones that had a 3D holographic projection. Of course, equipment that could perform 3D virtual projection was extremely expensive. It was a legendary piece of equipment. Even an average rich family would have to spend all their fortune to afford one. Luo Hua was in front of the computer, excitedly trying to use the voice-activated system. Luo Feng and Zhou Huayang entered the resting room. After closing the door, Luo Feng and Zhou Huayang sat facing each other in the resting room. Brother Luo, have some tea. Zhou Huayang picked up the teapot and poured a cup of tea for Luo Feng. At the same time, he said with a face of shame, Brother Luo, I came here to apologize to you. This time's matter. Alas, speaking of which, I'm really embarrassed and ashamed. Luo Feng held his teacup and quietly listened on the side. Zhou Huayang. There were many such people in society, and they were the kind of people who had a lot of connections. What they were doing was accepting money from others and doing things for them. For example, Zhou Huayang. He was also paid to do things, so he didn't have any grudges with Luo Feng. Luo Feng didn't have much resentment towards Zhou Huayang. Luo Feng truly hated Zhang Haobai. Even if that Zhang Haobai doesn't find Zhou Huayang to deal with me, he'll find someone else, thought Luo Feng. This Zhou Huayang is just a middleman. But since he came looking for me, I might as well settle this privately with him. Zhou Huayang saw that Luo Feng was silent, so he continued. This time, I arranged for people to deal with you. I didn't know about your situation at all. Zhang Haobai was the one who told me, which is why I did such a stupid thing. I hope that Brother Luo can be magnanimous and forgive you. Luo Feng grinned. This is a small gift from me. I hope Brother Luo can accept it. Zhou Huayang took out an envelope from his pocket and pushed it in front of Luo Feng. This is a check from the China Merchant Bank. The recipient is you, Brother Luo. Only you can withdraw this money. You can withdraw this money from any branch of the China Merchant Bank. Luo Feng glanced at it and opened the envelope. Indeed, there was a check inside. The payment deadline was 10 days, and it was limited to Luo Feng. Luo Feng's ID number was also written on it. Of course, the most eye-catching thing was the words, 1 million yuan? 1 million? Luo Feng was slightly shocked. This was quite a large amount. Luo Feng's family hasn't even saved over 100,000 yuan in all these years. The value of Chinese dollars nowadays is quite high. Even for the CEOs of companies, 1 million Chinese dollars is a large amount of money. I hope Brother Luo can forgive me and let this go, said Zhou Huayang sincerely. 1 million. Luo Feng's family has never had this much money before. It would be a waste not to have this kind of money. I know you're the middleman, so I won't make it hard for you. All right, I'll accept this money, Luo Feng nodded. Zhou Huayang let out a sigh of relief. However, it's quite troublesome to withdraw this check. How about this? Transfer the money to my account through the internet, said Luo Feng. All right. Zhou Huayang was very straightforward. Luo Feng nodded and took out a pen from the table. He wrote down his bank account number and bank on a piece of paper. This is my bank account number. The address of the bank is here, and I'm the one who opened the account. Okay, Zhou Huayang put away the envelope and check. At the same time, he took out his cell phone and used it to quickly enter the bank system. In just a moment, the transfer was successful. Luo Feng felt the cell phone in his pocket vibrate. He took it out and saw a message. It was a notification from the bank that told him that his balance increased by 1 million. Has it been transferred? Laughed Zhou Huayang. Yup, nodded Luo Feng. Zhou Huayang laughed. Brother Luo sure is straightforward. In this Yangzhou city, if you have any problems that you can't solve, just come find me. As long as I can do it, I'll definitely help. Of course, you'll soon become a fighter. However, it's easier to deal with ghosts than the king of hell. If you encounter any problems, it'll be easier for us to solve them. All right, I'll naturally ask for your help. Luo Feng stood up. Zhou Huayang also stood up, and the two shook hands. Then I'll be leaving first, laughed Zhou Huayang. I've already paid for this room. Brother Luo, you guys can play until tomorrow morning, said Zhou Huayang to Luo Feng's brother, Luo Hua, and then left the room. Only Luo Feng and Luo Hua were left in the room. In the room's entertainment room. Brother, why did this person find you? Laughed Luo Hua. I feel like he's quite polite. He's here to give us money, laughed Luo Feng. Give us money? Luo Hua was shocked. Luo Feng didn't tell his parents or his brother about what happened in the jail. He didn't want them to worry about him. From Luo Feng's perspective, since he's on the path of a fighter, then this path will be filled with difficulties and dangers. It's best not to tell his parents about these dangers and difficulties. Oh yeah, Hua, laughed Luo Feng. How's your stock trading going? Because his brother, Hua, is always at home. He's always been interested in finance, especially the stock industry. Even though his brother isn't that old, he's been trading for 3 years already. I didn't make any money in the first year, but I've been making quite a bit these past 2 years. "I've made around 20,000, said Luo Hua. "That much?" Luo Feng was shocked. 20,000 isn't enough to shock Luo Feng. What shocked Luo Feng was his brother's efficiency at making money. He actually made it twice. That's a terrifying efficiency. "It's all right," laughed Luo Hua. "Actually, when it comes to stocks, one is playing with psychology and the other is playing with math. As long as you control your positions well, you can control the buying price through successive purchases." It was easy to follow the bankers behind the scenes, but sometimes when the stock market was volatile, one's mentality would be affected. "If I don't make any money in the first year, I'll often get scared and throw them away early." Luo Feng was confused as he listened. "It's nothing much for me to earn money. If a powerful expert operates the futures market, I can double my earnings from the stock market, and they can earn 10 or 20 times more. Of course, futures trading is even more dangerous. If you're not careful, you'll be forced to liquidate your position. That will be the end of everything." Luo Hua shook his head, even though Luo Feng didn't understand these things. But he knew one thing. Stocks made money by compound interest. For example, her brother took 3 years to raise his income from a few thousand to 20,000. But if he had 1 million yuan in capital, he might have 4 million yuan in assets now. With a capital of 4 million, he would have 16 million in assets. Money made money, and the further it went, the more exaggerated it became. "Wah, I'll give you 500,000 when we get back." Luo Feng smiled. "Work hard." 500,000? Luo Hua's eyes lit up with excitement. Today's stock market plunged. It's the perfect time to search for a bottom. We can make a huge profit. After sleeping in the same room with his brother for so many years, Luo Feng realized long ago that his brother always hoped for the stock market to crash. His neighbor, Uncle Wang, always hoped that the stock market would rise. His younger brother made money in the stock market, while Uncle Wang lost money in the stock market. Experts hope for the stock market to fall? Luo Feng thought to himself. "Oh yeah, brother, where did you get the money from?" Luo Hua asked. "It's that Zhou Huayang from before." Luo Feng smiled. "Brother, go use this money. When I become a fighter, I'll make a lot more money." Regular fighters aren't that good at making money, but Luo Feng was very clear about his own strength. Just as telekinesis alone is scarier than a heavy machine gun. After all, bullets fly in a straight line, and Luo Feng can instantly change direction with his spikes. August 1st, Fighter Combat Exam. After passing, I'll start my career as a fighter. Luo Feng's right hand that was holding the teacup slightly tightened. "Ha!" The teacup immediately shattered and the tea spilled all over the floor. Luo Hua, who was on the side, was shocked. "Brother, what's wrong?" "Nothing." Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. However, he was thinking to himself, "When I was in jail, I trained my genetic energy and my strength increased by a huge amount. After my ability awakened, my strength increased even more. Right now, my strength and speed are much, much higher than before. However, increasing my strength too quickly isn't a good thing. My control over my strength isn't precise enough." In his excitement, he actually crushed the teacup. Clearly, he didn't have enough control over his strength. "Yeah, tomorrow morning, I'll go to the dojo of limits. From today to August 1st, I'll seriously train for the next 20 days. I need to properly hone my current speed, strength, and so on. This will allow me to unleash my full potential." Luo Feng thought to himself. Chapter 23. At 5 a.m. the next day, Luo Feng headed towards the dojo of limits when the sky started to brighten. He hasn't received his prospective fighter certificate yet, so Luo Feng still used his elite student certificate to enter the dojo of limits. Senior, morning. Inside the dojo of limits, there were quite a few students doing their morning exercises on the grass road. Luo Feng smiled as he nodded, and then ran towards the 3rd floor of the elite student building. He hasn't received his prospective fighter certificate yet, so he can only enter the elite student training hall. He doesn't have the right to enter the instructor's area on the 4th floor. Ha. He could only hear the sound of people exhaling and yelling from the training hall. Luo Feng looked inside and saw a youth in a white robe wielding a metal spear. He was continuously swinging the great spear in his hand. "Brother Iron," Luo Feng laughed as he yelled. "Training so early in the morning? That's rare. Crazy." The youth in a white robe stopped and looked at Luo Feng with a face full of surprise. "Why are you here?" "Ha! Oh yeah, I have to congratulate you, Crazy, for passing the prospective fighter exam. How did you know?" Luo Feng was surprised. There should be very few people who knew that he had passed the prospective warrior assessment. Last night, when the instructor was teaching us, he told us about this. He said that among the elite students in our dojo, you and Brother Yang both passed the prospective fighter exam. The youth in a white robe rubbed his head helplessly. "Seeing that you two passed, I didn't dare to relax, so I came here early in the morning to train." Luo Feng nodded. So this was what the instructor was talking about. Even though the Dojo of Limits has around 30,000 students, there are only 6 instructors. And there's only one instructor. When instructors teach, they usually do it in a gigantic hall where thousands of students can listen at the same time. Of course, there's no need to teach the elite students, since there are only so many elite students in the dojo. "Crazy, you already passed the exam. So why are you here so early in the morning?" laughed the youth in a white robe. "August 1st, fighter combat exam. I need to prepare," laughed Luo Feng as he walked towards the weapon room next to the training hall. The door to the weapon room wasn't closed. After entering the weapon room, there were large amounts of weapons placed on the weapon cabinet. Knives, spears, rods, axes, hammers, swords, spears, etc. Furthermore, there were many types of weapons in each category. For example, among sabers, there were one-handed sabers and two-handed sabers. There were also many types of one-handed sabers. Blood Shadow Series. Luo Feng opened one of the weapon cabinets. Inside were large amounts of blades of the same design. Of course, these blades were all replicas. The model, center of gravity, and weight were exactly the same as the real thing. However, there was a huge difference in the material. A real saber that could kill monsters might cost hundreds of thousands, but this imitation saber would only cost a few hundred, which was much cheaper. Xiao! Luo Feng pulled out one of them. This was a Blood Shadow 2 series blade. The blade was 78 centimeters long, the entire blade was 101 centimeters long, and the blade was 2 centimeters wide. The back of the blade was a bit thick, and the tip of the blade was sharp. Luo Feng casually waved it twice and frowned. "I've been using this ghost blade for a long time, but it feels so light." In the past, he was used to swinging his saber, but now he felt as light as a feather. "As my strength increases, the weight of the saber I need to use has to increase as well. Only then will it feel more comfortable." Luo Feng took out another Blood Shadow 2 series blade and waved it twice, creating a sharp whistling sound. "No, it's still too light. This one isn't enough either. Too light, too light." Luo Feng took out the heaviest Blood Shadow 2 series blade replica and couldn't help but to shake his head as he laughed. "Looks like my strength has increased by too much. I can't find a suitable blade in this elite student's weapon room at all." Luo Feng could only choose to leave the 3rd floor and head towards the 4th floor. The 4th floor is where the instructors often go. Luo Feng knew that the 4th floor also had a training hall and weapon room. Prospective fighters have a right to enter the 4th floor. However, my prospective fighter certificate hasn't been issued yet, so I don't know if I can enter the 4th floor. There was a small room next to the staircase of the 4th floor. An old man was on duty there. "HM, what are you doing? Students aren't allowed in here." The old man on duty stood up. Suddenly, he let out a surprised expression and laughed. "So it's Luo Feng. I heard from Director Jiang that you passed the prospective fighter exam. Come in." "Thank you, Uncle Lee." Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. If this Uncle Lee was really serious and forced Luo Feng to take out his prospective fighter certificate, then Luo Feng wouldn't be able to enter. After all, legally speaking, Luo Feng isn't a prospective fighter yet. The training hall on the 4th floor was clearly decorated much better. The equipment were also of a higher quality. At this time, Luo Feng was the only one in the training hall on the 4th floor. "What a waste, what a waste. What a waste," Luo Feng couldn't help but to shake his head and sigh. This dojo only has a total of 6 instructors. Other than teaching, the 6 instructors spend most of their time training in the limit hall. Such a good place, yet it's just left empty. So few people come here. Luo Feng shook his head and entered the weapon room. Even though the weapons in this weapon room were also replicas, they looked much better than the weapons on the 3rd floor. Blood Shadow 2 Series. The blades here sure are a lot heavier. Luo Feng took out one and swung it twice. Luo Feng took out a knife and swung it twice, then switched to another one. After 5 tries, he finally chose one that suited him. He looked carefully at the label on it and saw that the weight of the knife was written on the blade, 101 kilograms. What, 101 kilograms? Luo Feng was shocked. Such a heavy blade. Yet I feel comfortable wielding it. Keep in mind that the ghost blade is a blade that can be swung very quickly and is quite light. Even a blade like this only feels comfortable wielding it at 101 kilograms. Just what level has his strength reached? Looks like my body fitness level has increased quite a bit. I'll test my fist strength and speed later. Luo Feng was a bit excited. Right now, I'll first practice the basics. After choosing the blade, he also picked up a hexagonal shield. In a training hall, Luo Feng's left arm was inside the shield and his right hand was holding the ghost blade. Huh. Luo Feng stood in the same spot and performed the basic blade techniques moves perfectly. Horizontal slash, upward slash, hack, combo slash. Every move was perfectly executed. Luo Feng's center of gravity wasn't affected by every slash as he continued to practice and modify his moves. I'm too strong right now. I can't control my strength well enough. Luo Feng knew his own problem. Even if my body fitness level is good, I still need to be able to use it. Luo Feng was clear. Just because your body fitness level is higher doesn't mean you're stronger. Some people can only use 30% of their body fitness level. And some people can use 50%, 60%, 70%, and even 100% of their body strength. There were some saber grandmasters who could even kill someone 10 times stronger than them with their weak strength. This is the importance of technique and experience. Of course, if the difference in body fitness level is too big, technique can't make up for it. In conclusion, no matter what, technique has to be practiced in order to bring out the full potential of your body. Head Li Balian, who was on duty on the 4th floor, respectfully yelled. Who's inside? Instructor Jiang Yin asked. He could clearly hear a series of sharp whistling sounds coming from the training hall next to him. These sharp whistling sounds were obviously the sound of swords and sabers slicing through the air at an astonishing speed. Just from the sound, you could tell that it was definitely a fighter. It's Luo Feng, laughed Uncle Li. Luo Feng. Instructor Jiang Yin smiled and walked towards the training hall. Standing at the entrance of the training hall, Instructor Jiang Yin looked at Luo Feng, who was in the training hall, performing his basic blade techniques as if he was a textbook. Sometimes he would slash in place, sometimes he would run, dodge, retreat, etc. While moving, he would continuously slash with his ghost blade. Your foundation is quite solid. Instructor Jiang Yin couldn't help but to nod in compliment to himself. With a good foundation, your future training with the blade will be even better. No obvious weaknesses. Not bad. The more he watched, the more satisfied he was. Instructor Luo Feng turned around and noticed Instructor Jiang Yin, so he stopped. Instructor Jiang Yin smiled as he walked in. Luo Feng, your blade technique is quite good. You started training when you were young, right? When I was young and didn't enter the dojo, I just played around at home, laughed Luo Feng. Instructor Jiang Yin nodded in satisfaction, but the smile on his face suddenly froze. He stared blankly at the ghost blade in Luo Feng's hand with his eyes wide open. Instructor? Luo Feng was shocked by Instructor Jiang Yin's expression. Instructor Jiang Yin stared at Luo Feng in shock. You were using a 101 kilograms ghost blade just now. Yeah, Luo Feng was a bit shocked. Instructor Jiang Yin shook his head. Impossible. How could this be? But right after, Instructor Jiang Yin's eyes lit up. He stared at Luo Feng as if he was looking at a treasure. Luo Feng, go over to the fist strength testing machine. Quick, throw a punch for me to see. Let me see just how much strength you've reached. Chapter 24. When this Luo Feng took the prospective fighter exam, his fist strength was only around 1,100 kilograms. And in just a few short days, he could easily swing the 101 kilograms blood shadow saber, and the speed at which he swung it was astonishing. Doesn't that mean his strength has increased by a few times? Instructor Jiang Yin took in a deep breath. Ever since he became an instructor, Jiang Yin's dojo contribution points have been increasing extremely slowly. The fighters of the dojo of limits all value contribution points. The fastest way to increase contribution points is to hunt monsters. However, Jiang Yin hasn't hunted monsters in a long time. If I'm not wrong, this Luo Feng's genetic energy training speed is much faster than normal fighters, thought Jiang Yin to himself. Who knows? Maybe he'll be qualified enough for headquarters to send someone over. If I can recommend Luo Feng, not only will I be able to earn some contribution points, I'll also gain face in front of the other instructors. Jiang Yin couldn't help but to be excited. Luo Feng, throw that punch with all your strength, yelled Jiang Yin. Yes, instructor Luo Feng walked in front of the fist strength tester machine and took a deep breath as he thought to himself. Compared to my telekinesis ability, this fist, kick, and blade technique is a level lower. Luo Feng didn't have any intentions of hiding his strength. He adjusted his breathing and then exerted all his strength. His back was like an archdragon. Boom! His fist was like a missile hitting the tester, causing it to violently shake. Beat! How much? Jiang Yin immediately ran over and looked at the display. Luo Feng also looked at the display after throwing his fist. Even Luo Feng himself didn't know how much his fist strength had reached. A clear number appeared on the screen of the punching strength testing machine. 3,109 kilograms. 3,109 kilograms? Jiang Yin took in a deep breath and turned his head to look at Luo Feng like he was looking at a monster. Luo Feng looked at this number and was shocked in his heart. His fist strength actually increased by so much. During the prospective fighter exam, my strength was around 1,100 kilograms. This is the first time I started genetic energy training, so my strength increased the fastest. It should have increased to around 1,500 kilograms, 1,800 kilograms. After my ability awakened, my body evolved, and I suddenly reached 3,109 kilograms. Ever since that awakening, Luo Feng clearly felt that his body's strength increased by a lot, but he didn't have a clear number to show it. Luo Feng, you succeeded in your genetic energy training, right? Asked Jiang Yin. Yes, after the prospective fighter exam, I tried to train my genetic energy for the first time. I succeeded that night, nodded Luo Feng. Jiang Yin couldn't help but clench his fists and roar. My Xian Region's dojo of limits finally has a true genius. His first time cultivating genetic energy, and his weight increased from 1,100 kilograms to 3,100 kilograms. This is the first time he improved so much. In the entire Jiangnan city, there are at most 1 or 2 geniuses like him in a year. From the time a human was born to the time they first cultivated genetic energy, there would be a period of more than 10 years in between. Their bodies had never absorbed genetic energy before. Because he had never absorbed it before, he had been starving for more than 10 to 20 years. Therefore, the first time he cultivated it, his progress was the most astonishing. From the second time onward, the improvement would be very small. It would take months and years of continuous cultivation to gradually improve. At the same time, the rate of improvement in one's first cultivation also represented a person's aptitude. Some people could increase their punching force by 300 kilograms during their first training, which was considered normal. Some people could increase their punching force by 600 kilograms, which was considered outstanding. Someone who had gained 1,000 kilograms of weight could be considered an elite, and Luo Feng increased it by 2,000 kg. This was a genius. Luo Feng, come, test your speed. I'll test your reaction speed later. Jiang Yin felt as if he had discovered a treasure and was testing its abilities. Yes, instructor Luo Feng was a bit excited. Very soon, The results of the assessment came out. Fist strength, 3,109 kilograms. Speed, 58 milliseconds. Nervous reaction test, beginner warrior level, full marks. Intermediate warrior level, excellent. Haha, my Xian district also has a monster. Jiang Yin looked at the final result on the reaction speed tester and was so excited that his face was red. He randomly patted Luo Feng's shoulder and yelled, "Luo Feng, you're the instructor. My dojo contribution points will depend on you in the future." Luo Feng just laughed. "Luo Feng, your improvement in strength is incredible. My dojo of limits can let you join the dojo ahead of time." Jiang Yin said, "You don't need to go through the fighter combat exam. I'll let you join first. Join the dojo of limits first." Luo Feng was a bit confused. Usually, only after you become a fighter can you officially join other forces. "Luo Feng, when you come out of the Xian district's dojo of limits, I'll be your guide." Instructor Jiang Yin patted Luo Feng's shoulder and laughed. "I won't hide it from you. Your first genetic energy training increased your fist strength by over 2,000 kilograms. Your speed and reaction speed also increased by a lot. I can say your talent is at the genius level or the monster level. In the entire 200 million population of Jiangnan City, only 1 or 2 monster geniuses appear every year." Luo Feng laughed helplessly. Monster level? Others might not know, but he knew that his fist strength only increased by around 600 kilograms during his first genetic energy training. Only after he awakened his ability did his strength increase by a lot, to such a shocking number. However, Jiang Yin couldn't have thought of this, since the biggest increase in strength for a normal fighter is the first genetic energy training. A monster genius like you will naturally be discovered by the Thunder Dojo and the families of the Underground Alliance after the fighter combat exam. At that time, they will definitely invite you to join. Instructor Jiang Yin laughed. Instructor Jiang Yin smiled and said, "When the time comes, you might be blinded by the generous conditions." Luo Feng realized, right? Out of the 200 million population of Jiangnan City, only 1 or 2 monsters appear every year. Who wouldn't fight for them? So isn't it better for you to join now? Instructor Jiang Yin laughed. "Of course, don't worry. The conditions at the dojo of limits will give you won't be low either. Normally, when a fighter joins the dojo, other than a villa, they also get $1,000,000 Chinese dollars. Luo Feng, don't be careless about money. The fighter's battle armor, weapons, blade technique scrolls, and even some hot weapons. You can even hire a powerful fighter to teach you. All of these require money." Luo Feng nodded. "To give a genius like you, other than a villa, we will also get 20 million. We will let you buy all sorts of weapons and equipment. At the same time, the Dojo of Limits will also give you a Dao In Technique scroll, a Blade Technique scroll, and an Agility Technique scroll for free. As long as the price of these 3 is below 50 million, you'll get them for free. If it's over 50 million, you'll have to pay the extra." Luo Feng couldn't help but to hold his breath. My God, a normal fighter only has 1 million, and Luo Feng has close to 70 million. Since the Dao In Technique scroll, Blade Technique scroll, and Agility Technique scroll are all very important to fighters. Luo Feng, the Dao In Technique scroll, Blade Technique scroll, and Agility Technique scroll don't exceed 50 million. However, if you buy them from other places, you'll probably have to spend twice as much as buying them from the Dojo of Limits." Jiang Yin laughed. "Fighters from the Dojo of Limits have a discount when buying some of the Dojo of Limits instruction manuals. Of course, you'll need the corresponding dojo contribution points to buy the instruction manuals. If you don't have the dojo contribution points, you won't be able to buy the instruction manuals even if you have the money. Of course, if you buy it for free, there's no requirement for the dojo contribution points." Luo Feng realized. Looks like the conditions that the Dojo of Limits gave him were quite generous. "My Dojo of Limits has the same requirements for geniuses." Jiang Yin smiled. "In the Dojo of Limits, when you go out to hunt monsters in the future, you'll be able to get help from your companions. Plus, the head of the Dojo of Limits, the world's strongest fighter, Hong, will occasionally teach some true elites." Luo Feng has lived in this era for so many years, so he is very clear on how much influence the Dojo of Limits has. Joining the Dojo of Limits is definitely a good choice. All right, instructor, I agree, nodded Luo Feng. Huh, Jiang Yin laughed. Of course, I don't have the qualifications to let you directly join the Dojo of Limits. Accepting a monster-level fighter like you requires the headquarters to personally review it. As he spoke, Jiang Yin took out a phone from his pocket and softly said, "Headquarters." Immediately, he dialed a number. A moment later, a figure appeared on the phone screen. "Jiang Yin, what's the matter?" The white-haired old man on the screen said with a faint smile. "Uncle Bai," Jiang Yin said with a face full of excitement. "I found a genius-level fighter in the Xi'an region. His first genetic energy training increased his fist strength by 2,000 kg. His speed can reach 58 meters per second, which is a reaction speed test. Even the intermediate warrior exam is excellent. He's definitely a monster-level, genius-level fighter." "Oh," the white-haired old man was shocked and asked, "His first-time training increased his fist strength by 2,000 kg? How old is he?" "The older you are, the less valuable you are to training." 18 years old, said Jiang Yin. "What? Only 18 years old?" The white-haired old man suddenly stood up and roared. "You punk, hurry up and bring him to the headquarters. I'll arrange for people to test this kid right now." "All right, I'll head to the headquarters immediately." Jiang Yin hung up the phone and smiled towards Luo Feng. "Luo Feng, come with me to the headquarters now." "Yes, instructor." "Instructor, I'll put the ghost blade and the hexagonal shield into the armory." Just as Luo Feng opened his mouth, Jiang Yin grabbed Luo Feng. "What armory? Just leave it on the ground. Hurry, don't waste time." As he said that, Jiang Yin dragged Luo Feng towards the stairs. At the same time, Jiang Yin ordered, "Old Li, I'm afraid I won't have time today. Cancel my class tonight." "Yes," head Uncle Li nodded. Right after he finished speaking, Jiang Yin and Luo Feng disappeared from his vision. Chapter 25. Instructor Jiang Yin used his fighter privilege and directly took Luo Feng to the main city sector of Jiangnan City without buying a ticket. Jiangnan City was divided into the main city sector and the 8 great cities. The transportation between the main city sector and the 8 great cities is the train. Normal people have to buy a ticket 3 days in advance if they want to ride the train, and the price is very expensive. As for going from one headquarters city to another, the price is sky high. Normal people can't even afford it. So the 200 million citizens of Jiangnan City rarely have the chance to leave the headquarters city. Jiangnan headquarters city, main city sector. Luo Feng and Jiang Yin walked side by side on the sidewalk. "Luo Feng, do you feel the difference between the main city sector and our Yangzhou city?" Jiang Yin smiled as he pointed around. Luo Feng looked around and shook his head. "Nothing much. I just feel that there are more people, more cars, and the road is wider. Everything else is normal. However, there was nothing special about this small scene." Jiang Yin smiled. "At first glance, there isn't much of a difference. You'll know the difference in a bit, hello?" Jiang Yin turned on his phone. "Jiang Yin, how much longer until they arrive?" The old man's face appeared on the phone screen. "Uncle Bai, they'll arrive in 10 minutes, Jiang Yin smiled. "Okay, I've already invited the chief. When the time comes, don't make any mistakes," the white-haired old man said solemnly. "Lord Supervisor?" Even Jiang Yin was shocked. While they were talking, Luo Feng already saw an extremely large area in front of him. Other than the silver-white walls that extended outwards, there was a tall, dark blue skyscraper. On this skyscraper, there were 4 words that could be clearly seen from miles away. Dojo of Limits. "This is the Dojo of Limits headquarters. Our Dojo of Limits headquarters in Jiangnan City," said Jiang Yin. "There sure are a lot of soldiers." Luo Feng took in a deep breath. Outside the walls of the Dojo of Limits headquarters, there are people armed with real guns standing guard. The entire Dojo of Limits headquarters gave off the feeling that it was a monster armed to the teeth. The main gate of the Dojo of Limits headquarters was a full 100 meters wide. Rows of soldiers looked around. "These are the soldiers of our Dojo of Limits." Jiang Yin smiled as he spoke. Our dojo of limits has the right to set up our own security force. Let's go. And Zhang Yin brought Luo Feng towards the main gate. Let them pass. At the entrance, a one-armed man with a scar on his face waved his hand. Immediately, all the soldiers took a step back. That orderly and uniform aura made Luo Feng hold his breath. The one-armed man glanced at Jiang Yin with a smile. Old Jiang, it's been a while since I last came to the headquarters. Let's have a few drinks later. All right. Jiang Yin smiled and nodded. At the same time, he looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, this is your senior. Call him Uncle Lu. Uncle Lu, Luo Feng respectfully yelled. He could feel that this one-armed man was an extremely powerful fighter. Not bad, young man. The one-armed man smiled and nodded. I don't have time to talk to you. Let's talk later. Uncle Bai is waiting for me inside. Jiang Yin immediately brought Luo Feng into the courtyard of the dojo of Limit's headquarters. This huge courtyard was like a large park. Little bridges, fake mountains, and flower beds could be seen everywhere. There was also an endless stream of people coming and going in the courtyard. Every single one of them gave Luo Feng a special feeling. As Jiang Yin and Luo Feng walked on the road, he couldn't help but to sigh. The one you just called Uncle Lu was a good brother who went through life and death situations with me. We've been through life and death situations with each other. His broken arm was broken by an ape-type monster, a black-furred iron ape. Luo Feng listened quietly. The fighters of the Limit Hall are very united. Jiang Yin pointed at the skyscraper. Look, that's the headquarters of the dojo of Limits in Jiangnan City. Almost everyone who goes in and out of that building is a martial artist. Almost all fighters? Luo Feng was shocked. He could vaguely see the silhouettes of people through the glass on the first floor of the skyscraper. There were probably more than 100 people inside. Jiangnan City has a total of 200 million people. How could our dojo of Limits have so few fighters? Jiang Yin laughed. Most of the people on the first floor are drinking and chatting. The second floor to the 9th floor of the headquarters building was the place where warrior rank warriors often trained and stayed. The 10th floor to the 19th floor is where the warlord level fighters stay. As for the 20th floor and up, that's where the group meetings are held. Luo Feng was confused and asked, Instructor, fighters are split into the warrior level and the warlord level. Fighters are split into the warrior level, the warlord level, and the extremely rare war god level. Jiang Yin explained softly. Most of the warriors are in the warrior level. Many fighters stay in the warrior level for their entire lives. The warrior level is split into beginner warrior, intermediate warrior, and advanced warrior. Most of the fighters who just pass the exam are considered beginner warrior level. Luo Feng, your current strength is considered intermediate warrior level, Jiang Yin said. Luo Feng nodded. Looks like his strength is still at the bottom of the fighters. Warrior level warriors can usually be killed with firearms. But warlord level fighters can't be killed with hot weapons, Jiang Yin sighed. For example, if you use a heavy machine gun to shoot at a warlord, the warlord can easily dodge it with his reaction speed and speed. Therefore, warlord-level martial artists are definitely considered outstanding elites among martial artists. Even though you're talented, you're still young, so you can only be considered a rookie, Jiang Yin laughed. Luo Feng could only rub his head. Of course, Luo Feng knew about the powerful fighters among fighters. For example, the powerful fighter who was able to split the golden eagle in half with one blade. Even if Luo Feng used his spiritual force, he probably wouldn't even be able to harm a hair on that fighter's head. Above the warlord level is the war god level. Jiang Yin's eyes were filled with admiration. That's truly a war god. Each of them can easily walk through a rain of bullets, move as fast as lightning, and have unbelievable reaction speeds. Each of them can destroy a residential building with a single punch or kick. War god. That's a war god? Luo Feng held his breath as he listened. Warrior level. Warlord level. War god level. His current strength was only at the level of a mid-level warrior. Perhaps after using telekinesis, his strength would be much stronger, and he might even be able to step into the warlord level. Instructor, is there anything above the war god level? Asked Luo Feng. Yes. Jiang Yin smiled and nodded. There are existences above the war god level. Each of them has the power to destroy the world. Even a country would have to be cautious when facing such a powerhouse. However, there are far too few of them. Even our Huaxia government only has 2 or 3 such invincible experts. Luo Feng was shocked. Above the war god level, even China, one of the 5 great countries, only has 2 or 3 under their government. That's why fighters all over the world divide fighters into the warrior level, and the war god level. Jiang Yan explained, of course, the world's standard for judging strength. In fact, it wasn't based on your strength, speed, or reflexes. Instead, it will be based on your achievements. Battle records? Luo Feng asked curiously. Yeah, even though your body fitness level should have reached the intermediate warrior level. However, after you become a fighter, your fighter status will still be at the beginner warrior level. Once you kill enough monsters that are strong enough and meet the requirements of an intermediate warrior, you'll be able to become one. Then you'll only be an intermediate warrior level. Jiang Yan sighed. After all, some people have good body fitness level, some have good blade techniques, and some know all sorts of tricks. The only way to judge a person's strength is through their achievements. Luo Feng nodded. Yeah, even if there's a huge difference in body fitness level, a person with a weaker fitness level can still kill a person with a stronger fitness level. Work hard and become a warlord-level fighter. Then you'll be the pride of Yangzhou City, laughed Jiang Yin. Brother Yin Luo, who came to find me last time, is a warlord-level fighter. Oh, Luo Feng slightly nodded. If I use my spiritual force, just how strong will I be? Will I be able to match the warlord level? I'll have to wait until later to find out. Luo Feng and Jiang Yin chatted along the way and quickly arrived at a 3-story villa. This villa took up quite a bit of space. On the balcony of the 2nd floor, an old man with white hair yelled, Jiang Yin, hurry up and come up. Let's go. Follow me. Jiang Yin brought Luo Feng and quickly entered the villa. Chapter 26. The 2nd floor of the villa was empty. It wasn't any smaller than Yangzhou's Jian region's dojo of Limits Training Hall. Chief, Jiang Yin respectfully yelled as he entered the 2nd floor. Luo Feng was slightly surprised. Instructor Jiang Yin has never been this respectful to Yangzhou's chief instructor, Wu Tong, or anyone else. Jiang Yin, this young man, must be Luo Feng, a gentle voice rang. Yes, Chief, Jiang Yin respectfully replied. Luo Feng looked carefully. There were 5 people standing next to the white-haired Uncle Bai. 4 of them were wearing white suits. At this time, these 4 men and women wearing white suits were respectfully standing behind a middle-aged man wearing a black tang suit. This middle-aged man was skinny and had a hooked nose. His eyes carried a gentle smile, and his entire body gave off a feminine feeling. Jiang Yin immediately signaled Luo Feng with his eyes. Luo Feng was startled and said, Greetings, Chief. Okay. The middle-aged man wearing the tang suit slightly nodded and said, Old Bai, you guys can begin. Check this young man's strength. Yes, Uncle Bai respectfully replied. Luo Feng muttered to himself. Even Instructor Jiang Yin isn't this respectful when he sees Chief Instructor Wu Tong. This Uncle Bai seems to have quite a high position in the Dojo of Limits. However, he's so respectful in front of this chief. Just what is this chief's identity? No matter what, this chief is clearly someone with a lot of power. Beep. The fist strength tester and speed tester were all switched on. W. The cameras and other equipment in the 2nd floor's training hall were all switched on. Clearly, they were going to record Luo Feng's test. The 4 young men and women in white suits also started to move. They either held the PDA in their hands or personally checked the accuracy of the equipment. Uncle Bai, there's no problem with the equipment, said the young woman in the white suit. Okay, Uncle Bai looked towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng, start the test. Fist strength first. Luo Feng took in a deep breath and walked towards the fist strength tester. At this time, whether it was Jiang Yin, Uncle Bai, or the 4 young men in white suits, or the high and mighty chief, their gazes all landed on Luo Feng. Luo Feng, who was originally relaxed, instantly exploded and pounced forward like a cheetah. Pump! A heavy punch, accompanied by the sound of an explosion, smashed onto the fist strength testing machine. Luo Feng immediately looked at the display. 3,110 kilograms. Young man, not bad. The Lord Supervisor, who had always been calm, smiled and nodded. Continue to the next item. The speed test and reaction test came out quickly. Speed test result, 58 milliseconds. Reaction test, beginner warrior full marks, intermediate warrior excellent. Phew! Luo Feng walked out of the red circle of the reaction speed tester machine. Seeing that his results were normal, he let out a sigh of relief. Not bad. I didn't screw up at the crucial moment. Instructor Jiang Yan, who was beside Luo Feng, also relaxed. After all, when some people are in a critical situation, their mental pressure is too great, and it's easy for them to not be able to display their full strength. His reflexes are better than the other two. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit nodded with a smile. The age is also 18, which is within the restricted range. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit looked towards Jiang Yan and smiled. Your Xian region produced such a genius. Jiang Yan, you've done a great job. Jiang Yan couldn't help but to let out a happy expression and smiled. It's all because Luo Feng worked hard enough. Okay. The middle-aged man's gaze landed on Luo Feng and said seriously, Luo Feng, are you willing to join the Dojo of Limits? I'm sure Jiang Yan has already told you the conditions. I'm willing to join. Luo Feng didn't hesitate. Very good. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit smiled and clapped. According to the old rules, you can choose a villa in Yangzhou City or the main sector headquarters. You have the right to live there, but you don't have the right to sell it. Our Dojo of Limits Villa sector will definitely be where the fighters of the dojo live. Other than that, there's 20 million in funds. There's also the agility, Dao Yin, and attack instruction manuals that don't exceed 50 million, the middle-aged man smiled. Am I right? Yes, Luo Feng nodded. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit looked towards a woman in a white suit beside him. Go and draft the contract. According to the old rules, just change one of the terms. Luo Feng can choose any agility, Dao Yin, or attack instruction manuals. As long as the price is within 100 million, it's free. I'll pay for it. Yes, Chief. The woman in the white suit looked at Luo Feng in shock. She didn't dare to say anything else and immediately went to print the contract. Chief. Luo Feng was shocked. The benefit from before was that the 3 instruction manuals don't exceed 50 million. Now it's suddenly increased to 100 million, and this chief is paying for it. Luo Feng, you're not bad. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit slightly smiled. I have high hopes for you, so don't mind this small amount of money. Small amount of money? Luo Feng was shocked. 50 million to 100 million. In other words, this chief has to spend tens of millions for him. And it's small amount of money? Even a warlord-level fighter wouldn't be this extravagant. Thank you, Chief. Luo Feng also thanked. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit slightly smiled. After that, the printed contract was brought over. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit casually took the contract and pen and swiftly signed it. The young woman in the white suit then handed the contract and pen to Luo Feng. Here, and here. Just sign here. Luo Feng slightly scanned the contract. The conditions of the contract were extremely clear. The terms were clearly written, and there weren't any headache-inducing jargon at all. Luo Feng immediately signed it. Welcome, Luo Feng. Join the Dojo of Limits family. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit smiled as he extended his hand. Luo Feng also extended his hand and shook the chief's hand. From today onwards, you can directly move into the fighter's villa sector. The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit smiled. As for your starting capital and instruction manuals, you'll have the authority of a fighter after you officially become a fighter. Only then will you have the right to enter the Dojo of Limits internal network and purchase instruction manuals. The starting capital will also be transferred to your fighter account. Luo Feng nodded. Oh, right. My name is Zhuge Tao. Don't forget, young man, The middle-aged man in the traditional Chinese suit smiled as he brought the four young men and women in white suits out of the villa. The second floor of the villa was completely empty. Only Uncle Bai, Jiang Yin, and Luo Feng were left. Phew, the chief was here just now. Even my breathing was a bit nervous, laughed Jiang Yin. I didn't think that the chief would come either, said Uncle Bai. Luo Feng was confused. Instructor, Uncle Bai. Just who is this chief? Haha, young man, you're quite lucky. The chief saw that you have potential, so he casually increased the limit of your instruction manuals by 50 million, reaching 100 million. Uncle Bai looked at Luo Feng and sighed. And what surprised me the most was that the chief actually told you his name. Looks like the chief has high hopes for you, name. Luo Feng didn't even realize what it meant for a chief to tell someone his name. After hearing the name Zhu Gutao, Luo Feng wasn't shocked at all. He just sighed in his heart. The surname Zhu Gu is quite rare. Luo Feng, in our words, the chief is one of the four giants of our Jiangnan dojo of limits, smiled Jiang Yin. For giants? Luo Feng froze. Uncle Bai glared at Jiang Yin and said in a low voice, "These are all private discussions." In the Jiangnan Limit Dojo headquarters, the highest position was the president, followed by the three managers. The president and the three chiefs were what many martial artists secretly called the four great heavyweights. Every one of them had extremely high authority. If you want to be a manager, you must first have the strength of a high-level warlord. At the same time, you must contribute a lot to the dojo and have the support of a sufficient number of war god-level fighters. Oh, Luo Feng was shocked. There were 3 requirements to become a supervisor: strength, contribution points, and the support of a war god. Luo Feng, to the chief supervisor, Luo Feng. 50 million really isn't much, said Jiang Yin quietly. From what I see, the reason why the chief values you is because you're young. She was only 18 years old. He believes that you have the potential to become a war god in the future. That's why I'm investing 50 million today to help you. Luo Feng nodded. Uncle Bai laughed. However, Luo Feng, don't get careless. Your talent isn't bad, but it's too hard to become a war god. The supervisor only thinks that you have a glimmer of hope, a possibility. Just because of a glimmer of hope, he's investing 50 million to help me? Sighed Luo Feng. The Dojo of Limits rules were very strict. According to the internal rules, Luo Feng could only invest 50 million for the 3 instruction manuals. Even the supervisor couldn't change the rules. He could only take out money from his own pocket on top of the 50 million. And when a fighter is just starting to develop, a good instruction manual is extremely useful. Don't even think about it, Luo Feng. The fact that the supervisor treats you differently is good for you and not bad at all. The supervisor's network is extremely vast. The army, the circle of war god level fighters, the government, all the big families. The supervisor has his own network. He's the person at the top of Jiangnan City, a giant level figure. Jiang Yin couldn't help but to exclaim. Luo Feng nodded. It's a good thing that the supervisor has a good impression of him. So why think so much? Since he's helping him, he'll just return the favor in the future. Luo Feng, when are you preparing to move? To the fighter sector in Yangzhou City? Or from a main city sector? Asked Jiang Yin. Luo Feng slightly hesitated. Almost all of his parents' friends are in Yangzhou City. And almost all of his close friends are in Yangzhou City. Let's move to Mingyue sector, replied Luo Feng. Chapter 27. That afternoon, Instructor Jiang Yin dragged Luo Feng to the headquarters for a lively meal with some fighters. Only until the evening did Luo Feng rush back to his home in Yangzhou City. In the evening, the streetlights in the southern coast sector were already lit up. 3 sweaty, middle-aged men were talking and laughing as they walked in the sector. Just by getting close, one could smell the smell of wood and paint on their bodies. My waist really hurts. I guess I can only sleep on my stomach tonight. When I go to the hospital, it's probably time to go to the hospital. One of the middle-aged men, who had a burly physique, held his waist with one hand and said helplessly, and my prostate is also hurting. I should go to the hospital sometime. Damn it, this hospital just spends a lot of money. Old Tian, why don't you rest for 2 days and tell the boss? You can start work after you feel better, said Luo Feng's father, Luo Hongwa. Yeah, old Tian, it's not worth it to tire your body out, said the slightly fatter man on the side. Yeah, I know what to do. All right, I'm going home. As he said that, the burly middle-aged man turned and headed toward the tube-shaped apartment. The slightly fatter man and Luo Hongwa sighed for a bit and then headed towards another tube-shaped apartment. Luo Hongwa slowly walked towards his home under the dim light of the streetlights. 32nd floor. Luo Hongwa stood on the first floor and raised his head to look at the stairs. For people nowadays, climbing the 32nd floor was indeed a very easy thing to do, but Luo Hongwa, who had been working hard for the whole day, felt tired even if he walked more. My neck and waist are a little sore. I should find some time to rest. Luo Hongwa walked step by step until he reached the 32nd floor. Ding dong, ding dong. Luo Hongwa stood in front of his house and pressed the doorbell. He was too lazy to even take out his keys. Ka! The door opened, and he saw a table full of food. There were more than 10 dishes on the table. Even during the new year, his house wouldn't be this extravagant. What's wrong, all this good food? Even though Luo Hongwa wasn't happy, he still smiled as he entered the house. Dang, 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 dang. Luo Hua, who was sitting in his wheelchair, yelled loudly, Dad, welcome home. Dad! Luo Feng, who was standing on the side, obediently brought a cup of tea to his father and said, From today onwards, Dad, you don't need to wear this uniform anymore. Luo Hongwa was stunned. Old Luo, Gong Exinlan, who was holding a bowl of rice, smiled as she looked at Luo Hongwa. Your son just signed a contract with the Dojo of Limits. Once your son passes the fighter combat exam, he'll get 20 million. Furthermore, he was given a detached villa. He even brought back the villa key. What? Luo Hongwa was stunned. Xinlan, what did you say? Dad, look, Luo Feng handed the signed contract to Luo Hongwa. Luo Hongwa took it and read it carefully. From the first line to the last line, Luo Hongwa didn't dare to miss a single word. It was just like how he read his marriage certificate over and over again in the past. Now, he was reading his son's contract over and over again. The terms of the contract were very clear. Isn't the contract with the dojo supposed to be signed after the fighter combat exam? Luo Hongwa couldn't believe it. And why is there 20 million? After Luo Feng passed the prospective fighter exam, Luo Hongwa also asked about it. When a fighter joins the dojo, they only have 1 million in starting capital. Dad, this is because brother is a talent. Luo Hua laughed weirdly. What's the most valuable thing in this day and age? A talent within a fighter is the most valuable. We can live in this villa now. Luo Hong will look towards his son Luo Feng. His wife, Gong Exinlan, laughed on the side. If you want to live here, you can live here now. Ha ha. Luo Hong couldn't control himself at all. Tears started to form in his eyes. After all these years, he worked so hard for this family. However, with his hard work, he wouldn't have a chance to make a comeback in his entire life. And now, he can finally make a comeback, and he'll be able to live in a legendary detached villa. Indeed, a detached villa is a legendary existence to normal people. After the Grand Nirvana period, a headquarters city has to support 200 million people. Every inch of land is worth its weight in gold. Because a detached villa takes up too much space, you can't buy one even if you have the money. Even those rare detached villas that people with money and power have to pay a huge tax to live in. Luo Hongwa can finally live in a detached villa one day. Luo Hongwa couldn't help but to laugh. Haha, that dog boss doesn't even live as well as me. Yup, Luo Hua, who was in the wheelchair, also said excitedly. In the future, our house will have huge floor-to-ceiling windows, a huge bathtub, and an extremely large living room. In the future, our TV and laptops will all be voice-activated. The living room TV screen will be at least 200 inches. A bed can also be rolled around on. I've always wanted to roll around on a bed, Luo Hua said excitedly. Seeing his dad and brother's expressions, Luo Feng was extremely happy. What did he work so hard for? Wasn't it all for this day? Dad, Mom, sit down and eat, Luo Feng laughed. I'm going to take a shower, Luo Hongwa laughed loudly. In the future, I won't have to wear this uniform anymore. I'll call the boss later and fire him. That night, Luo Feng's family was completely immersed in excitement and happiness like never before. This house was only 36 square meters, but it allowed the family of 4 to live in it for so many years. Even though there were many dissatisfactions towards this house, like how his parents could only sleep on the sofa and not get much sunlight in a year. The bathroom was pitifully small. There was too much bitterness. However, when it was time to leave, Luo Feng's family was still a bit reluctant. This place held too many memories for them. However, people always strive for higher things. Early the next morning, a large truck stopped downstairs. Luo Feng's family started to move things onto the truck. Old Luo, what's going on? How are we moving things? Elon sis, what are you doing so early in the morning? Many familiar friends and neighbors in the same sector curiously asked Luo Hongwa and Gong Xian Lan as they walked past. Haha, my son Feng joined the dojo of limits and moved to the Mingyue sector. Luo Hongwa replied confidently. Wang San, will my family hold a banquet? You have to come. These people who have lived in these cheap rentals for so many years. Which one of them didn't hope for a day where they could make a comeback? Luo Hongwa made a comeback. He relied on his son. Old Luo's son sure is amazing. He actually joined the dojo of limits. Yeah, if my son can be this amazing one day, even if I die of exhaustion, I'll die of laughter. Old Luo has made a comeback. He's so lucky. The surrounding neighbors spread the news to 10 and 10 to 100. Soon, the entire Southern Shore sector, and even the surrounding cheap rentals, all knew that Luo Hongwa's son joined the dojo of limits and his family moved to the Mingyue sector. This was an incredible, joyous occasion, and it also made many youngsters from ordinary families yearn to be able to help their families one day. When you want to find me, go directly to the Mingyue sector. But before you go, give me a call, and I'll notify the sector gate, Luo Feng said to his friend Wei Wen. Okay, Wei Wen excitedly hammered Luo Feng's chest. I knew it, Luo Feng. You make a comeback one day. So what if you failed your exams? Even if you graduate from a university or military academy, can 1 out of 10,000 of them live in a villa? Fuck, in a few days, I'll definitely go visit your house. I've never been to a villa in my life. Soon, under the gaze of the surrounding women, children, and men, Luo Feng's family rode in a car. Behind them was a large truck filled with items that they couldn't bear to throw away. Luo Feng's family left the Southern Shore sector and entered the fighter sector, Mingyue sector. In the morning, at the main entrance of the Mingyue sector, 6 soldiers with real guns stood on both sides of the gate as they scanned the surroundings. Stop! One of the soldiers immediately raised the assault rifle in his hand and aimed it at the approaching taxi. Gee! The taxi immediately slammed on the brakes. Luo Feng's family got out of the taxi, and an old man with white hair walked out of the guard's office in Mingyue sector. He laughed. Luo Feng, right? Last time when I saw you take the prospective fighter exam, I knew that you had a bright future. I didn't think that you'd live in our sector so quickly. The notice came to me yesterday. Hurry, someone come help move the stuff. Luo Feng. We have people helping to move the stuff. These moving companies aren't allowed to enter, laughed the old man with white hair. We understand, smiled Luo Hongwa as he nodded. Soon, 7 or 8 soldiers ran out of the sector and quickly helped move the stuff. After that, under the envious gazes of the people from the moving company, Luo Feng's family entered the Mingyue sector. Mingyue sector, Luo Feng looked at the limit hall in the center and then looked at the little bridges, the fake mountains, and the ponds, as well as the villas that were surrounded by the little bridges. From today onwards, my home will be here. Luo Feng turned his head towards his parents and his brother on the wheelchair. At this time, his parents and brother were looking at this sector with excitement. Mr. Luo Feng, your house is the one in front. As the soldiers moved the stuff, a young woman smiled as she held a document in her hand. Mr. Luo Feng, number 199 in front is your home. This villa has a total of 3 floors. There's a basement, and the 3rd floor also has a gigantic balcony. The total area is 512 square meters. If you include the basement, the courtyard, and the gigantic balcony, etc., it's around 800 square meters. Luo Feng's family looked at each other. They then carefully raised their heads and looked at the luxurious red and white villa in front of them. This will be their home from now on. 36 square meters? Around 800 square meters? Luo Hua, who was on the wheelchair, couldn't help but to mumble. Chapter 28. July 31st, late at night, Mingyue Sector, Villa 199. The second floor of this villa had a total of 4 large rooms, a bedroom, a video room, a guest room, and a large training hall. This training hall was 120 square meters, which took up almost half of the entire second floor. Late at night, the light from the street lamps in the sector passed through the glass of the video room and into the training hall on the second floor. Luo Feng, who was wearing a loose training uniform, sat cross-legged on the floor. 2 rays of light continuously circled Luo Feng's body as they swiftly moved. After that, they flew around the training hall like happy birds. Sometimes they flew, sometimes they swooped, and sometimes they turned around. They were extremely nimble and quick. After a while, the 2 rays of light slowed down and floated in front of Luo Feng. They were 2 throwing knives. My current telekinesis ability can only allow me to multitask. If I control 4 or 5 throwing knives, their speed, power, etc. will all decrease. In the past month, other than training his body strength, Luo Feng put most of his energy into his spiritual force. In the past month, Luo Feng lived in Mingyue Sector and got to know many fighters. After talking with them, Luo Feng confirmed one thing. His spiritual force is indeed spiritual force. Tomorrow is the fighter combat exam, so I'll rest well tonight. Luo Feng got up and opened the glass door. He entered his bedroom to rest and sleep. August 1st, morning, under the lead of fighter from the Limit Hall, 30 prospective fighters, including Luo Feng and Yang Wu, rushed to the train station. Kuchi, kuchi, the sound of the fast-moving train rubbing against each other was very weak, but the inside of the train was noisy. The train was completely enclosed, so there was no glass to see the outside world. At this moment, a figure appeared on the large screen in every carriage. In the carriage, a large amount of prospective fighters sat. Prospective fighters of the future, I come from the HR Alliance. A middle-aged man was speaking on a large screen in the carriage. I believe that everyone has heard of the HR Alliance, the world's most powerful organization, the richest organization, and the organization with the most martial artists. Everyone must be familiar with our HR Alliance's other name, Underground Alliance. The prospective fighters in the carriage gradually quietened down. Luo Feng and Yang Wu sat side by side, looking up at the large screen. Madman, you know about the Underground Alliance, right? Yang Wu chuckled. That's a tycoon. The richest organization in the world is even richer than a national government. I know, Luo Feng laughed. After living in Mingyue Sector for almost a month, he learned a lot of basic information from the fighters in the sector. Before the Grand Nirvana period, countries like America and Europe all had some powerful families controlling some political parties behind them. These families, such as the Morgan family, the Rockefeller family, the Onassis family, and so on, these families controlled more than half of the world's wealth. However, with the arrival of the Grand Nirvana period, under the attacks of the monsters, many small countries were annihilated. The large countries were also unable to fend for themselves, and the control of the government with an army was unprecedentedly strong. At this time, some of the ancient and powerful families in the world were worried that they would be suppressed by the government. So they joined hands and formed the HR Alliance, which is also known as the Human Rights Alliance. The Human Rights Alliance sounded nice. In fact, it was an alliance to consolidate the strength of these super families. The martial artists called it the Underground Alliance. Our alliance is the world's largest martial artist exchange platform. Here, you can accept missions with huge rewards. Our alliance has a huge influence in every part of the world. Join our alliance and become part of us. Even in America, Europe, and other areas, you will be able to enjoy the highest level of service. Our alliance has a powerful military and political power. Join us. On the screen in the carriage, the middle-aged man spoke for a full 15 minutes. all future martial artists. On the screen in the carriage, it changed to another man with a serious expression. Let me introduce myself. I am the Vice Director of Jiangnan Headquarters City's Security Department. My surname is Liu. In China, the government's military power is, without a doubt, the strongest. Join the government's military. No matter where you are in China, you will receive the best support. Everyone. After a while, the screen in the carriage changed to another person. I am Jiangnan Headquarters City's Thunder and Lightning Dojo's manager. My surname is Wang. Our Thunder and Lightning Dojo was established by the world's fastest invincible fighter, Thunder God. In the entire world, there are branches of our Thunder and Lightning Dojo. Dear future fighters, the previous three have already introduced themselves. Needless to say, everyone knows that I'm from the Dojo of Limits. The screen in the carriage changed to another person. My surname is Zhu Ge, Dojo of Limits. This is the world's largest dojo, the dojo established by the world's strongest fighter. Our dojo has the strongest power in the world. A total of 4 people's announcements caused the prospective fighters in the carriage to discuss animatedly. Second brother, after you become a fighter, which side do you plan on joining? I feel like the Dojo of Limits isn't bad. Join the Underground Alliance and earn the most money. Haha. The Thunder and Lightning Dojo's benefits for fighters are better than the Dojo of Limits. Joining the Thunder and Lightning Dojo isn't bad either. The excited discussions of the prospective martial artists could be heard everywhere in the carriage. Luo Feng and Yang Wu also discussed quietly. Crazy, my instructor and past seniors all joined the Dojo of Limits. Now, even you joined the Dojo of Limits. Of course I'm the same. Even if I join the Dojo of Limits, I can still accept missions from the Underground Alliance. As for buying and selling, you can do it in the Dojo of Limits or in the Underground Alliance Dojo of Limits, Thunder and Lightning Dojo, Underground Alliance, Government and Military. Luo Feng was clear. In the country, the government and military are the strongest. Next is the Underground Alliance, an alliance formed by all the super families in the world. Even the governments of each country don't dare to offend them. After all, the Underground Alliance controls the economy of the entire world. The Thunder and Lightning Dojo and Dojo of Limits are the weakest. However, joining these 2 great dojos also means freedom. Brother Yang, look at this train. Just how many prospective fighters are there? Luo Feng looked around. Just one carriage alone had over 100 people. A lot of people. Yang Wu twitched his lips. Yang Wu curled his lips. Just now, I heard people talking about how there are 2 martial artist combat assessments every year. Over 1,000 potential martial artists from the entire Jiangnan Bay City participate in each martial artist combat assessment. Over 1,000 people? Luo Feng was shocked. But that's right. The entire Jiangnan City has a population of 200 million, and the entire Yangzhou City has a population of 10 million. After a while, prospective fighters, the train is about to enter the station. Prospective fighters, please prepare to disembark. A sound came from the speakers in the carriages. The train gradually slowed down until it stopped. HUA, the doors opened, and the prospective fighters in the carriages all disembarked. Soon enough, the vast crowd of prospective fighters entered the large military camp. The military camp took up a huge amount of space, especially around the outskirts of the camp. Large amounts of heavy weapons could be seen everywhere. All of the cannons were pointed outside the camp. A large amount of soldiers were holding all sorts of excellent weapons. Luo Feng and the group of prospective fighters all looked around. Look outside the military camp. Yang Wu excitedly pointed into the distance. Luo Feng looked carefully and saw that outside the military camp's warning line, there were some starving monsters letting out roars. However, these monsters didn't dare to approach the military camp. GA, with an ear-piercing sound, the prospective fighters all raised their heads at the same time. In the blue sky, hundreds of flying monsters instantly flew past. The book said that after leaving the headquarters city, you can see all sorts of monsters. The book was right. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. Humans can only live in the headquarters city, or gather in the military camp. If you want to explore these places alone and fight against these powerful monsters, only a fighter can do it. Everyone, a loud voice entered the ears of every prospective fighter. Welcome everyone to Jiangnan City's northern military region. This time, the fighter combat exam for 1680 of you will be held in the northern military region. I hope that most of you can pass the exam, and I hope that all of you can survive this combat exam. Chapter 29. The military sector was bustling. At the same time, they prepared a sumptuous lunch for the prospective fighters who came to participate in the fighter combat exam. Afternoon. 1680 prospective fighters stood in an empty plaza. In front of the plaza stood the upper echelons of the northern military sector of Jiangnan City, as well as the upper echelons of the Thunder Dojo and the Dojo of Limits. Below, prospective fighters come up to receive your battle uniform and weapon, Yanzhuohi Feng Wang Bingjiang. There were a total of 10 officers on the stage shouting the names of the prospective fighters. The prospective fighters who were called all went up to receive their battle uniform and weapon. Luo Feng. That clear voice, Luo Feng immediately heard it and immediately rushed to the front. This is your battle uniform and boots. This is the second series Ghost Blade you need. This is the heaviest 98 kilograms we prepared. We didn't prepare anything heavier. The officer handed over a set of items to Luo Feng. This is a tactical communications watch. It has positioning and communication functions. And this is a hexagonal shield. As the officer spoke, he looked at Luo Feng with a bit of confusion. A prospective fighter actually asked for such a heavy ghost blade. How weird. Luo Feng slightly smiled as he carried the 200 kilograms worth of items and swiftly ran away. In the square, the 1,680 warriors were assigned weapons that suited their body sizes and required their own specifications. Everyone was using cold weapons. This is the requirement of the fighter combat exam. Hot weapons are prohibited in the fighter combat exam. After the distribution, everyone returned to their respective resting areas and changed into their battle uniforms and boots. The empty plaza was filled with laughter. At this time, Luo Feng was wearing alloy battle boots, military trousers, and a battle vest made of Koluo alloy and other special materials. He also had a hexagonal shield and ghost blade on his back. He was happily chatting with the other prospective fighters beside him. Just this set of equipment alone would cost at least 7 to 800,000. A youth with a crew cut excitedly pointed at the battle uniform on his body. These trousers and vest aren't high-level fighter equipment. They're only lent to us for the fighter combat exam. However, it can also defend against the claws of the weakest H-class monsters. It's much better than those bullsh *T bulletproof vests in the city. Normal bullets won't be able to penetrate it, and H-class monsters won't be able to tear the material of this combat uniform. It can't be torn apart, but even if the monster can't tear apart the fighting suit, the impact alone is enough to break your bones and injure your organs. But even if the monster can't tear apart the fighting suit, the impact alone is enough to break your bones and injure your organs. Big brother, I'm not that weak. The young man with the crew-cut hair looked at the girl with a playful smile. Little girl, how about we find a place to have a taste of this big brother's strength? Speak less, frowned Luo Feng. Yes, Brother Luo. Let's listen to Brother Luo. The short-haired young man said with a smile. The news of Luo Feng being recruited by the Dojo of Limits spread like wildfire in the prospective fighter circle. It quickly spread like wildfire. This year, of the 1680 people, only 3 were recruited by the Dojo of Limits and the Thunder Dojo. These prospective martial artists all knew that the future of these 3 people would definitely not be ordinary. Luo Feng, a yell carried from afar. It was the chief instructor of the Yangzhou Hall of Limits, Wu Tong. Uncle Wu, Luo Feng laughed as he greeted Yang Wu and the others, and then immediately ran over. For the past month, Luo Feng has been living in the Mingyue sector. Naturally, he was very close to the chief instructor, Wu Tong, who also lived in the same sector. He was very familiar with him and called him Uncle Wu. Luo Feng, follow me, said Wu Tong as he led the way. Luo Feng was full of questions, but he didn't say much. He quickly arrived at the second floor of a quiet building. In the living room of the second floor, there were quite a few people sitting together. Luo Feng looked. He only recognized one of these people, and that was Zhu Gutao, one of the 4 giants of Jiangnan City's Dojo of Limits. "Chief," yelled Luo Feng. "Yeah, Luo Feng, you're sitting with Wu Tong over there," smiled Zhu Gutao, who was wearing a dark battle suit with a hint of silver. "Zhu Gu, this is the Luo Feng you were talking about? I don't think he's much better than our Thunder Dojo," said a burly man wearing a dark purple battle suit. In front of Zhu Gutao was a tall and sturdy man wearing a dark purple battle uniform. His voice seemed to echo in his chest. "Our Thunder Dojo is recruiting 2 people in advance this time. One of them has a body fitness level comparable to your Luo Feng, and the other is a firearms genius." The burly man looked at the 2 young men beside him, and they immediately stood up. "My name is Wan Dong," said the gloomy youth with a purple birthmark on his face. "My name is Ma Xiao," said the other youth with a smile on his face. His entire body was extremely beautiful. Yeah, the word beautiful can indeed be used to describe this youth. If he was a girl, he would probably be the type that would bring disaster to a country. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. "Luo Feng, you guys already know Luo Feng," said the gloomy youth. "Do you have the guts to compete in tonight's fighter combat exam? Let's see who will get first place." A light flashed in the gloomy youth's eyes, as if he saw the most delicious food, filled with desire. Not interested, Luo Feng shook his head. The gloomy youth froze, then laughed coldly and didn't say anything else. On the side, Zhu Gutao and the tall and sturdy man from the Thunder Dojo both laughed when they saw this. "Zhu Gu, you're a little interesting. At least you're calm enough. You don't immediately become hot-headed after being provoked. I'm starting to like this youth a bit. Luo Feng, do you plan on joining our Thunder Dojo?" Go, Zhu Gutao glared at him. "I'm just joking. You're so boring," laughed the burly man. Zhu Gutao glanced downstairs. "Let's go too. The fighter combat exam is about to begin." Luo Feng and the 1680 prospective fighters walked for half an hour under the lead of the soldiers before arriving at the outskirts of a small town. It was already evening and the sun had already set. Howl, howl. All sorts of heart-palpitating noises came from within the town. This town was surrounded by barbed wire, and large amounts of soldiers with guns in their hands patrolled the area. "Hurry, there aren't enough monsters inside. Bring another 1,200 iron fur boars, 300 shadow cats, and 500 mastiff tigers." As the order came from within the town, Luo Feng and the others didn't have to wait for long before they saw heavy trucks. Each of the heavy trucks had waves of angry roars coming from them. Luo Feng and the other fighters looked carefully. What they saw was that on each truck was a cage, and in each cage was a monster. The angry roars made the prospective fighters, who have never killed a monster before, tremble. Luo Feng, Chief Instructor Wu Tong, who was standing beside Luo Feng, laughed lightly. "Just because your body fitness level is good and your blade technique is good doesn't mean you can kill monsters. After all, some people can't even use 10% of their full strength when they see blood and are facing death. So the main purpose of this fighter combat exam is to train your mentality. You have to get used to fighting monsters to the death, so don't be merciful." "Understood," Luo Feng nodded. These monsters are the weakest H-level monsters. They're equivalent to the fighter's beginner warrior level," said Wu Tong. "Their weakness is their low intelligence. However, their advantage is that they're crazy and bloodthirsty. They're full of aggression and killing intent. So during every combat exam, there will always be cases of prospective fighters dying or becoming crippled." Luo Feng nodded. "It's impossible to be 100% safe when fighting monsters." After the weakest H-level monsters were transported into the town, the number of monsters in the town reached a shocking number. "Everyone," a loud voice entered the ears of every prospective fighter. Luo Feng and the other prospective fighters all raised their heads and saw a military officer standing on the roof of a ruined 3-story building in the town, speaking to all the prospective fighters. "The rules for this combat exam will be the same as before. Tonight, it will start at 6:30 a.m. sharp. Tomorrow at 6:30 a.m., the exam will end. The more monsters you kill, the more points you get. For every monster you kill, cut off the monster's left ear as proof. Remember, prospective fighters are forbidden from killing each other. All of your activities are under surveillance, and those who break the rules will be executed. Out of the 1680 prospective fighters, the top 60% of your points will receive the right to become a fighter. The bottom 40% will fail and will have to wait for the next fighter combat exam. The military officer's voice became cold. In other words, out of the 1680 people, 1,008 people will pass. 672 people will be eliminated. The prospective fighters who were listening couldn't help but to discuss in low voices. There's actually a 40% elimination rate. Let me remind you, usually you can pass the exam after killing 3 monsters. If you only kill 2 monsters, then it'll depend on your luck. The military officer's voice rang in everyone's ears. When the results are the same, the ranking will be based on the amount of time you spent killing the monsters and the amount of injuries you received. So, when you kill a certain number of monsters, leave the town as soon as possible. Remember, if you're heavily injured, you can press the help button on your tactical communications watch. Someone will immediately save you. But that moment also means that your fighter combat exam has ended. The military officer jumped. Whoosh! He directly jumped from the roof of the small building in the town to a height of around 10 meters. After 2 consecutive leaps, he arrived outside of the town. All prospective fighters, move out and enter Monster Town. The military officer waved his hand. The 1680 prospective fighters were like a raging wave as they swiftly entered Monster Town. Close the door, ordered the military officer. Rumble. The only door closed with a loud bang. The fighter combat exam officially began. Chapter 30. In this sealed-off town, the 1680 prospective fighters swiftly spread out and started hunting their prey. Brother Yang, you're going to charge into this monster town by yourself? Luo Feng and Yang Wu stood next to the wall of a ruined small supermarket. Yang Wu nodded heavily. Crazy, this fighter combat exam isn't just an exam. More importantly, it's a training for courage. When you actually enter the dangerous areas alone, the dangers you'll encounter will be 10 times or even 100 times greater than this. If even this monster town needs your help, crazy, what will happen in the future? Luo Feng nodded. That's true. Be careful, Brother Yang. Okay, crazy, you should take this chance too, Yang Wu reminded. All the monsters in this town are the weakest H-level monsters. In the future, we won't have such a good chance to train our blades on the weakest monsters. I understand this is a rare chance to train my blades, Luo Feng smiled as he nodded. All right, I'll see you outside the town tomorrow morning. After saying that, Yang Wu carefully looked around, and with a whoosh, he swiftly flew away. Luo Feng also swiftly flew away and hid in the shadows. Night fell, and there were large searchlights shining on the edge of this sealed-off town. This caused many places in the town to be very bright, but there were still many places that were covered in darkness. According to the fighters in the sector, monsters are split into soldier level, commander level, and horde leader level. They correspond to the human warrior level, warlord level, and war god level respectively. Luo Feng's left hand was equipped with a hexagonal shield, and his right hand was wielding a ghost blade as he silently stood in a ruined alley filled with dust. The weakest beginner soldier-level monster is an H-level monster. It's about the same as a beginner human warrior. Even though there are many monsters in this town, there are mainly 3 types. The cat-type monster that excels in speed, the shadow cat that excels in speed, the iron fur boar that excels in defense, and the dog-type monster that excels in speed and strength, the mastiff tiger. Luo Feng's gaze swept across. Suddenly, a shadow slowly moved forward from a collapsed 2-story building in the distance. With Luo Feng's vision, he quickly saw that it was a 5-meter-tall monster with hair all over its body that looked like spikes. The 2 huge fangs in its mouth reflected a cold light that made one's heart palpitate under the light from the distant searchlight. The height of an ordinary pig that humans ate was about 60 to 70 centimeters. In other words, this monster was more than twice the height of an ordinary domesticated pig, just like a small car. Iron fur, wild boar, my first prey will be you. Luo Feng looked at the iron fur boar and directly walked out of the alleyway, exposing himself to the iron fur boar's sight. The iron fur boar stared at the human warrior in front of it, who was wielding a shield and a blade, and let out a weird growl. After that, its four thick hooves violently stomped on the cement floor, stirring up a cloud of dust. It carried a foul stench as it rumbled towards Luo Feng, as if a heavy hummer was charging at him at high speed. The two sharp and long fangs were like two gigantic scimitars as they headed towards Luo Feng. When the iron fur boar charged towards him, Luo Feng quickly dodged to the side of the iron fur boar. The charging iron fur boar didn't even have time to stop. Luo Feng's eyes flashed coldly, and all the power in his body exploded into his arm. Without mercy, the ghost blade slashed upwards. The ghost blade slashed across the iron fur boar's neck from bottom to top. The head of the iron fur boar was severed from its body, as fresh blood spurted out from its severed neck. The iron fur boar's body continued to fly for another 10 meters before it finally fell to the ground. Its body twitched on the ground for a while before it finally died. Luo Feng took in 2 deep breaths. The scene of a monster's severed neck spurting out blood made Luo Feng's heart tremble. Killing a monster for the first time is indeed a bit shocking. No wonder Uncle Wu said that many prospective fighters can't even use 10% of their full strength when they see blood for the first time. Luo Feng reflected on the battle just now. At the start, I dodged pretty well, but then cutting off the iron fur boar's head with a single slash was too much of a waste of energy. A regular prospective fighter wouldn't be able to cut off the iron fur boar's head with one slash. The iron fur boar's defense is strong, but that's only for a regular prospective fighter. Luo Feng's current strength is top-notch, even compared to an intermediate fighter. Fighting with this iron fur wild boar was like bullying it. According to the fighter brothers in the Mingyue sector, I can't fight recklessly against a monster. I need to know how to grasp the monster's weakness. Also, when I saw the blood spurting out of the iron fur boar's severed neck, I was shocked. I have to get used to it. In the future, I'll have to constantly fight against monsters and walk on the edge of life and death. If my mental fortitude isn't good during crucial battles, I'll easily lose my life. Luo Feng understood one thing. The more crucial the moment, the more calm he had to be. Actually, Luo Feng's mental fortitude was already pretty good. After all, there are a lot of people who performed worse than Luo Feng during his first time killing a monster. Luo Feng walked to the boar's head and waved his hand. Poochie. He cut off the iron fur boar's left ear and put in his backpack. First one. Next one. Luo Feng's body flashed and quickly disappeared from the street. All that was left was the headless corpse of the iron fur boar lying on the road. Fresh blood dyed the dusty cement road red. Time passed minute by minute. In every corner of this sealed-off town, bloody battles were happening. Even though the strength of these H-level monsters is similar to a prospective fighter, humans have an advantage, which is intelligence. And the weakest H-level monsters don't have much intelligence. They only have the instincts of a wild beast. Around 8 p.m., on the rooftop of a 6-story apartment building, 2 black shadows were swiftly fighting against each other. A cold light flashed. Luo Feng's body was half kneeling on the platform. The ghost blade in his hand had a faint trace of blood on it, and the other black shadow was powerlessly thrown away. It fell on the rooftop and left a trail of blood on the ground. This shadow cat is indeed the fastest. For an H-level monster, its speed is actually around 40 meters per second. Luo Feng stood up and walked over. The shadow cat's body on the ground was covered in gray fur. Its body wasn't too big, only around half a meter long. Right now, there was a horrifying wound on the shadow cat's abdomen. Even its internal organs were cut open by Luo Feng's blade. This shadow cat is indeed a threat to regular prospective fighters, but it met me. Too bad it met me. Luo Feng shook his head and cut off the shadow cat's left ear. Luo Feng's speed is much faster than the shadow cat's. There's no helping it. Luo Feng is already an intermediate fighter, and even among intermediate fighters, Luo Feng is above average. Fifth 1-inch Luo Feng put away his spoils of war. Usually, if you can kill 3 monsters, you'll be able to pass. If I kill 5, I'll definitely pass. Then, from now on, I'll seriously train my blade and agility. Before, he only killed monsters to earn some points, but now he has enough. Right now, I'll use 1,000 kilograms of fist strength and 30 meters per second. I'll start fighting these monsters for real. Before, Luo Feng was basically bullying the monsters. They weren't on the same level. And now, Luo Feng is suppressing his own strength so that they're on the same level. That way, he'll be able to train himself. After all, when he enters the dangerous areas in the future, he can't always kill monsters that are weaker than him. Begin. Luo Feng stood on the edge of the rooftop of the residential building and slowly looked down and around him. First one. With a glance, Luo Feng saw a spotty, streamlined tiger mastiff at the top of a ruined 3-story villa. Luo Feng immediately dashed over and leaped over the edge of the balcony. He flew over 10 meters and landed heavily on the ruined villa's top floor, causing the floor to violently shake. And Luo Feng rolled on the ground. As he deflected the impact, he directly dashed towards the tiger mastiff. Howl! The tiger mastiff also pounced. The grim youth with bloodstains on his body wielded his ghost moon blade as he arrogantly walked on the street. I wonder how many monsters that Luo Feng killed, thought the grim youth to himself. He was the genius fighter that was recruited by the Thunder Dojo ahead of time. Wan Dong, the only fighter whose strength is close to Luo Feng's among the 1680 prospective fighters. Even though 3 people were recruited ahead of time, one of them is a firearms genius. However, among the 3 of them, one of them was a firearms prodigy. As someone who played with firearms, his physical fitness was not considered high. Luo Feng and this Wan Dong are geniuses with similar fitness levels. Wan Dong's gaze landed on the spot. He saw a human figure continuously fighting with 2 shadow cats. The 2 shadow cats let out hissing noises as their speed was shocking. Their sharp claws continuously clawed. As for the human figure, he nimbly dodged and dodged as he fought with the 2 shadow cats. Luo Feng, killing 2 shadow cats takes you so long? You disappoint me. Wan Dong's voice was loud as he sneered. Chi! Chi! Almost like lightning, the ghost blade in Luo Feng's hand stabbed twice. The 2 shadow cats fell to the ground and stopped moving after struggling for a bit. So fast, Wan Dong was shocked, and his heart shook, and his blade was clean, directly stabbing the shadow cat's weak points. Wan Dong only realized from Luo Feng's 2 stabs that Luo Feng's strength can't be underestimated. I want to play with you guys for a bit longer and train my technique. Luo Feng looked at the 2 shadow cats' corpses and muttered, but that guy's too annoying. I don't want him to see me train my technique and blade. Luo Feng cut off the left ears of the 2 shadow cats and put them in his bag. He didn't even look at Wan Dong and quickly disappeared. Chapter 31. In the isolated town, the massacre continued. Some prospective martial artists were injured during their first fight with a monster. They had no choice but to press the button on their communication watch to ask for help, but they had no choice but to fail. Some prospective martial artists were so scared that their faces turned pale after killing a monster. There were also some powerful prospective martial artists who became excited and crazy after killing a monster. Not far from the sealed-off town, in a large building, a large number of surveillance screens were showing everything that was happening in various areas of the town. What an immature method! In one of the rooms of this building, a military officer and a burly man were drinking together. The big screen on the wall next to them was broadcasting the massacre that happened in the town. The burly man sighed. Watching these young people fighting monsters reminds me of when we were young. Yes, look at them. Most of them are in their 20s, the youngest and most immature period. The officer also sighed. Old Wong, in the blink of an eye, us 2 brothers have grown old. We used to be the rising stars of Jiangnan City. Now you're the manager of the Thunder Dojo. You could be considered a big shot, haha. The burly man laughed heartily. Iron Monkey, haven't you also reached the level of a major general? The officer looked at the screen in surprise. The more he looked, the more shocked he became. Old Wong, look. On the screen was a surveillance video of various parts of the town. Because there were many cameras recording, the images on the screen would also change. Switched off? The officer immediately pressed the landline phone next to him and ordered, "Lock onto the prospective martial artist that was captured by camera number 21. Lock onto him." Yes. A sonorous voice came from the phone. The burly Wong Hung looked at his good brother in confusion. "Iron Monkey, what did you see just now?" "Old Wong, you'll know soon enough." The officer smiled mysteriously. Soon enough, the image from before once again appeared on the screen. In the image, there were 5 black silhouettes continuously attacking a prospective fighter. Those 5 black silhouettes were the 5 H-level shadow cats, and the prospective fighter was holding a hexagonal shield and a ghost blade. He looked very young, and that was Luo Feng. Eh? The burly man's eyes lit up. Is that so? This young man is amazing, right? The officer clicked his tongue and sighed. This young lad actually treated the warrior combat assessment as a free opportunity to train his body technique. And look, his movement technique is amazing. Ru Wei. This is the Ru Wei class. The burly man's eyes flashed as he stared at Luo Feng, who was being attacked by the 5 shadow cat monsters. Every time Luo Feng dodged, he didn't move much, and he easily dodged every single one of the shadow cat's attacks. His leisurely stroll completely conquered these 2 powerful fighters. Even many warrior-level powerhouses couldn't achieve the subtlety-level movement technique. His movement technique has actually reached the subtlety level. Unbelievable, unbelievable. The burly man gasped. He's only 18 years old. Movement techniques were different from physical fitness. If one was talented, their physical fitness would be very strong. But movement techniques require one to experience battle after battle and have a solid foundation before they can gradually step into the minute subtlety level. How do you know he's 18? The officer was shocked. Do you know him? His name is Luo Feng. Damn, he got recruited by the dojo of Limits early, the burly man said hatefully. The dojo of Limits sure got lucky. This Luo Feng is only 18 years old. But not only is his body fitness level great, but he's also extremely strong. Who would have thought that his movement technique would be even more amazing? The minute subtlety level. Reaching the minute subtlety level at such a young age. Just how amazing will he be in the future? Keep in mind, many warlord level fighters haven't even reached the minute subtlety level. One can only imagine how terrifying it is for one's movement technique to reach this level. In a real battle, body fitness level is only one aspect. Movement technique, blade technique, and awareness are all important aspects. No, the burly man fiercely slammed the table. We can't let the dojo of Limits steal such a genius. Luckily, I was lucky enough to see this video while drinking with you. Iron Monkey, what are you planning to do? Laughed the officer. What? Steal him. The burly man stared. Steal him. The dojo of Limits probably still hasn't realized how amazing this young man's movement technique is. I'll steal him over first. Isn't it just money? Oof. What luck, what luck. Such a powerful kid actually appeared in this year's wave. Compared to him, that one Dong is miles away. The officer laughed. Iron Monkey, make a copy of this video for me later, said the burly man. All right, no problem, laughed the officer as he nodded. The sky slowly brightened. In a ruined residential area in the sealed-off monster town, Luo Feng was being attacked by 3 mastiff tigers, 2 shadow cats, and 2 iron fur boars. Luo Feng had to use a lot of energy to attract the 7 monsters to attack him. Very good. Again, just like that, Luo Feng was as calm as if he was taking a stroll. Sometimes he took a step to the left, sometimes he took a step to the right, sometimes he retreated, and sometimes he advanced. Sometimes he slightly twisted his waist, and sometimes he bent his body. Just these small movements made it so that the 7 monsters couldn't even touch Luo Feng's body. Ow! Luo Feng noticed a mastiff tiger pouncing towards him from the corner of his eye. There were also 4 other monsters attacking him at the same time. According to the current situation, he immediately turned his feet and his body moved swiftly. Not good, almost. Luo Feng thought to himself helplessly, right as the shadow cat's sharp claws were about to scratch Luo Feng. The weird thing was that Luo Feng's body moved 5 centimeters to the side and dodged the claw. The legendary Ru Wei level technique, sure, is hard to learn. It looked like Luo Feng dodged all the attacks, but in reality, Luo Feng knew that he failed, because at the last moment, he used his spiritual force on the hexagonal shield on his left arm and created a pushing force. And because of this pushing force, Luo Feng was able to move 5 centimeters to the side. Technique is extremely important in battle, so Luo Feng spent the entire night training his technique. According to common sense, technique training requires an extremely solid foundation. Usually, it takes 10 years of hard work. After fighting with monsters for a few years, he formed all sorts of dodging instincts and gradually became proficient. When you reach the peak of proficiency, you have to be able to do it on reflex. Solid foundation, proficiency, and on reflex. These can be considered the first 3 levels of technique. Above these 3 levels is the Ru Wei level. The Ru Wei level means that you have extremely fine control over your strength and body. You can use the smallest amount of effort to dodge. All sorts of dodges and movements are calculated by a computer. The reason why the Ru Wei level technique is so hard is because when dodging, if you make a mistake, you'll easily get hit by a monster. If you're hit by a monster, you'll either die or be heavily injured. If you train with a Ru Wei level technique against a monster that's much weaker than you, it won't have much effect. Right now, Luo Feng is being attacked by 7 monsters at the same time. Actually, he's already using 100% of his strength and speed. However, with 7 monsters surrounding him, it's too difficult to make all 7 monsters unable to touch him. So, I'm in the Ru Wei level right now. I also use the smallest amount of movement to make an exquisite dodging. Of course, there are some mistakes. Luo Feng felt a bit tired. Luo Feng felt a bit tired mentally. The ghost blade in his hand, which hadn't attacked for a long time, swiftly swung. Suddenly, the monsters let out angry and painful roars, and 5 spurts of fresh blood came out. Out of the 7 monsters that fought Luo Feng for a while, 5 of them died on the spot. The other 2 saw that the situation wasn't good and fled. No matter what, after a night of training, my technique is at least 1 or 2 times stronger than before. Luo Feng let out a smile. Luo Feng let out a smile. No matter how much practice he had in the past, how could it compare to close combat with monsters? And how could normal battles with monsters compare to Luo Feng's extreme training, where he has to move his body in small increments? Only when you truly challenge your body's limits can you find out where your dodging limit is. This night of training was extremely beneficial to Luo Feng. Keep in mind that Luo Feng is stronger than the H-grade Mastiff Tiger, Shadow Cat, and Iron Fur Boar in a one-on-one. Luo Feng is stronger in a one-on-one. However, if 7 monsters surrounded a human, they would still be able to kill the human, since one punch can release over 3,000 kilograms of strength. A monster with over 2,000 kilograms of strength can still make Luo Feng spit out blood. Even that genius Wan Dong wouldn't dare to train like this, or else he'll get dismembered by the 7 monsters. But Luo Feng dares, because he has a spiritual force. If he makes a mistake and encounters danger, Luo Feng can immediately use his spiritual force on his shield or ghost blade to give himself some extra strength. That way, he can use that strength to dodge horizontally again. Sadly, this spiritual force can only be used on lifeless objects. Once it gets close to a human body, it will directly enter. Luo Feng shook his head. Spiritual force can't control humans or animals. It can only control metal, wood, etc. However, the spiritual force has already given Luo Feng a huge surprise. At least, he can dodge at the Ru Wei level. Of course, it's the mutated Ru Wei level, because if he makes a mistake, he can use his spiritual force to push. But his dodging ability isn't any worse than a normal Ru Wei level. And it's even stranger. WWW. An ear-piercing sound suddenly rang through the entire town. At the same time, a deep voice rang through the entire town through a loudspeaker. Time's up. All prospective fighters immediately head to the exit of the town. The fighter combat exam is over. Laughed Luo Feng. In the future, I'll continue to try this Ruwei level technique until one day I can reach the Ruwei level without the help of my spiritual force. Luo Feng cut off the left ears of the 5 monsters next to him and put them in his bag. After that, he quickly headed towards the main gate of Monster Town. Chapter 32. At the entrance of Monster Town, the prospective fighters walked out one by one. Almost every prospective fighter had blood on them. Maybe it was the blood of monsters, or maybe it was their own blood. There were also some prospective martial artists who were helped out by their friends. Du, an ear-piercing sound rang. Heavy trucks drove out of the town, and the trucks were filled with monster corpses. Hey, these are the corpses of the prospective fighters. Someone come and collect them. One of the heavy trucks stopped on the side. There were indeed quite a few corpses on the truck. Some of the corpses were incomplete, clearly eaten by the monsters. The truck dumped the corpses of the prospective fighters on the ground. Gone. Little Ian. Immediately, quite a few of the prospective fighters who came out screamed. Some even threw themselves onto the corpses and started crying. What are you crying for? A military officer's cold voice rang, causing quite a few of the prospective fighters to glare angrily at him. However, this military officer's cold gaze swept around. Who doesn't die when fighting against monsters? You chose to walk the path of a fighter, so prepare to die. Human society gives fighters special privileges. Why? It's not for you to enjoy life, but because you killed a large amount of monsters and contributed to humanity. That's why you're given special privileges, your position, your power. All of this was earned by you risking your lives. The monsters arranged for you in this trial are the weakest monsters, and they aren't group type. If you can't even pass the trial, do you still want to live after entering the wilderness? The military officer's words made all the prospective fighters quiet down. Everyone knew quite a bit about monsters. Among the monsters, the ones that give people the most headaches are the group type. For example, the lion mastiff of the dog type monsters. Every time they move, there will be dozens of them. Even an intermediate level fighter wouldn't dare to mess with them. 2 monsters have left ears. The next one has an injured left arm. Lu Feng? 3 monster left ears. Not bad. Next, beside the entrance of the town, every prospective fighter who came out handed over the monster left ear they killed to prove how many monsters they killed. Look, Luo Feng came out. It's Luo Feng who was recruited by the Dojo of Limits. I wonder how many monsters he has killed. Just because you're strong doesn't mean that you're good at killing monsters. At this time, a large amount of prospective fighters that came out all had their gazes focused on Luo Feng, who just walked out of the entrance. Luo Feng, Wan Dong, and Ma Xiao were among this batch of prospective fighters that were recruited early. 1 to 10, 10 to 100. Almost everyone in this group recognized Luo Feng and the other 2. As soon as he came out, he was stared at by a large amount of prospective fighters. Luo Feng couldn't help but to freeze. Luo Feng, right? Give me the left ear of the monster you killed. There were 3 officers sitting in front of him. 2 of them were using their laptops, and one of them was looking at Luo Feng. Yes. Luo Feng nodded and took off his backpack. At this time, the gazes of the surrounding prospective fighters were all focused on Luo Feng's bag. They were all curious. Just how many monsters did Luo Feng kill? What? Luo Feng directly tipped the bag over, and a large amount of monster ears fell into the metal pot beside him. There was a small pile of ears that filled the metal pot by more than half. So many. How many monsters did this guy kill? The prospective fighters watching from afar were shocked. At this time, the examiner was counting the monster ears. After a while, the examiner let out a smile as he looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, not bad. There's a total of 36 monster ears. Up until now, you've killed the most monsters in this batch for now. No injuries either. Next, the examiner turned his head to look at the people below. Luo Feng smiled as he walked over. I've passed the fighter combat exam. I'm a true fighter now. Luo Feng was extremely happy in his heart. After that, Luo Feng stood in the crowd and watched the people who came out one by one a hand in their monster ears. Some of these people didn't have any injuries at all, but most of them didn't have serious injuries. They just needed to rest for about half a month. There were even some crippled prospective fighters who were heavily injured. Yang Wu, HN not bad. 3 monster ears and a light injury to his left arm. Next, Yang Wu also returned safely. Brother Yang, Luo Feng yelled from the crowd. Madman, Yang Wu laughed as he ran over. How are you? How many monsters did you kill? 36, Luo Feng and Yang Wu walked to a corner. 36? F*CK, madman, you're too sick. Those monsters are really hard to kill. Yang Wu glared, especially that mastiff tiger. It's even faster than me, and I don't even need to talk about its strength. Monsters of the same level are usually much stronger than human fighters. I risked my life and only managed to kill 3, Luo Feng laughed. H-grade monsters indeed can't be underestimated. Even an intermediate warrior would be in danger when facing 7 or 8 H-grade monsters. Luo Feng relied on his spiritual force to train his technique. Wandong. It's Wandong, a genius prospective fighter recruited by the Thunder Dojo. I wonder how many monster ears he's killed. Compared to Luo Feng, I wonder who's stronger. HM, the only one who can compare to Luo Feng is this Wandong. A discussion came from the front, causing Luo Feng and Yang Wu, who were hiding in the back, to raise their heads in shock. Yang Wu was even more shocked. That Wandong only came out now? Madman, I heard that Wandong's fitness level isn't any lower than yours. I wonder how many monsters he killed this time. At this time, the prospective fighters standing in front all stared at Wandong's back. And some of the prospective fighters in the back perked up their ears to listen. There's a bunch of monster ears. Seems like a lot of noise suddenly came from the front, followed by the examiner's voice. Wandong, HM, a total of 51 monster ears. Haha, you've surpassed Luo Feng. For now, you're the one who killed the most monsters in this wave of prospective fighters, 51. He actually killed that many more than Luo Feng? This Wandong sure is powerful. 51 monsters. How scary. The prospective fighters who have experienced the power of the monsters were all shocked. Madman, this Wandong actually killed more than you. Yang Wu was a bit shocked. What's the point of killing so many? Luo Feng didn't care as he laughed. He spent the entire night training his technique. If he really wanted to kill the weakest H-level monsters, with Luo Feng's strength, he would only need to ambush a single monster each time. It wouldn't be strange for him to kill over 100 of the weakest monsters in one night. Luo Feng, a voice carried over. Luo Feng turned his head and saw a large bearded officer smiling. Come with me. A friend wants to see you. He's in the resting room in front. Oh. Luo Feng was a bit confused. See me? Luo Feng didn't hesitate and directly followed the large bearded officer. Before entering the resting room, Luo Feng took off his battle uniform that was stained with blood, washed it, and changed into a clean set of clothes before entering the resting room. In the resting room, a burly man sat there with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and looked towards Luo Feng like lightning. It's him? Luo Feng was shocked. He recognized this person. He was the one who talked to Chief Zhuge before, one of the 4 big shots of the Thunder Dojo in Jiangnan headquarters city. My name is Wang Heng, chief of the Thunder Dojo. The burly man smiled. Luo Feng he's sitting across from this chief? Luo Feng was shocked. He was very clear on how high a chief's position was. You could say that a chief of the Thunder Dojo's position is comparable to a war god level fighter. They have an astonishing amount of power. You can say that in Jiangnan headquarters city, this burly man in front of him has eyes and ears everywhere. Why aren't you sitting? Are you scared that I'll eat you? Ha! The burly man started laughing. Luo Feng laughed and sat in front of the burly man. He smiled and said, Mr. Wang, what business do you have with me? Simple, the burly man smiled. The burly man smiled and said, I've investigated your family situation. You come from an ordinary family. Your father is an ordinary decorator, and your mother is only a shopping guide in a supermarket. You don't have any good background, but you were able to get to where you are today at the age of 18. That's quite rare. Luo Feng let out a complicated smile. Indeed, he has been working hard for far too long for this day. I really admire you, and I also think that you have a great future. I officially invite you, Luo Feng, to join my Thunder Dojo. The burly man looked at Luo Feng. I've already signed a contract with the Dojo of Limits. Luo Feng shook his head as he laughed. The burly man shook his head as if he didn't care. Contract? Since it's a contract, you can break it. Just pay the penalty fee. According to the rules of the fighters, the highest penalty fee can exceed 300 million. I think that your value far exceeds this amount. The Thunder Dojo will pay for you. And after you join, I'll arrange a special training contract for you with the Thunder Dojo's world headquarters. The burly man laughed. Every year in the whole world, there are no more than 10 warriors who receive this special training contract. Every single one of them are absolute geniuses. Half a year has passed, and our Thunder Dojo has just sent out 3 special training contracts. One is for a 20-year-old advanced level fighter from the European Union. One is a South American genius who's a spirit reader. The third is a 16-year-old intermediate-level fighter from our China's capital, Jinghua headquarters city. You're the fourth. Luo Feng couldn't help but to be shocked. All 3 of these people are insane. Clearly, Wan Dong and Ma Xiao were recruited earlier. However, they still don't have the qualifications to receive this special training contract. Just because he has the qualifications? Actually, with just Luo Feng's fitness level, he doesn't have the qualifications to receive this contract. However, on top of this, if you add, already learned the Ru Wei level technique, this is enough for Luo Feng to receive the special training contract. After all, being able to learn the Ru Wei level technique at 18 is too unbelievable. As long as you join our Thunder Dojo, I'll give you this contract. I'll send you to our Thunder Dojo's world headquarters for training. You might even have the chance to receive personal guidance from the legendary Thunder God. The burly man smiled as he said, Luo Feng, our Thunder Dojo sincerely invites you to join our Thunder Dojo. Chapter 33. Wang Heng's request has already reached the limit. He looked at Luo Feng expectantly. Sorry, Luo Feng slightly bowed. Thank you, Thunder Dojo. However, I've already joined the Dojo of Limits and never thought of transferring. So sorry, Wang Heng froze. He rejected? You're not going to think about it? The burly man stared as he frowned. No need, Luo Feng stood up and slightly bowed. Mr. Wang, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. Luo Feng was clear that since he rejected him, it would be awkward for them to sit together. Wang Heng carefully looked at Luo Feng. This young man didn't even waver when faced with temptation. Wang Heng couldn't help but to sigh in his heart. He waved his hand and smiled. All right, I won't try to persuade you anymore. If you ever want to, the Thunder Dojo's door will always be open for you. Thank you. Mr. Wang. Luo Feng smiled as he left. After Luo Feng left, Wang Heng's face sank and yelled, Tell Wan Dong to come. Yes, Chief. The underlings outside immediately went to inform Wan Dong. Who would have thought that the Dojo of Limits would get another talent? Wang Heng rubbed his chin and squinted his eyes. Ever since the Phantom War God got injured and retired, in this Jiangnan headquarters city, our Thunder Dojo has always been at a disadvantage compared to the Dojo of Limits. Sigh. Wang Heng was also panicking. In the entire world, the Dojo of Limits and the Thunder Dojo are the 2 largest dojos, and the founders are the world's strongest and second strongest. Naturally, the higher-ups of the Thunder Dojo and the Dojo of Limits all smiled on the surface. However, in reality, they're secretly opposing each other and want to suppress each other. In some of the headquarters cities in the world, the Thunder Dojo's power surpasses the Dojo of Limits. However, in Jiangnan headquarters city, the Dojo of Limits' power is stronger. Chief, the grim youth, Wan Dong, walked in. As Wan Dong looked around, he was filled with confidence. Clearly, the fact that he killed more monsters than Luo Feng in this year's fighter combat exam made Wan Dong even more confident. Wan Dong. Wang Heng let out a smile. You're the best new fighter in our Thunder Dojo. However, Your current strength is still a bit lacking compared to Luo Feng, manager. Wan Dong was anxious. Was there a difference between him and Luo Feng? You doubt my words? Wang Heng frowned. Wan Dong shook his head. He knew that the supervisor in front of him used to be a high-level warlord martial artist. At the same time, he also had the position of supervisor, which brought about various special powers. In terms of status, he's not any weaker than a war god. How could such a person lie? I'm telling you clearly, your physique is not worse than his. However, in a real battle, even three of you can't beat one Luo Feng, said Wang Heng seriously. However, the difference between you and him is huge. But that doesn't mean you'll be weaker than him in the future. What you need to do now is to work hard and surpass him. I've seen many geniuses, but many of them have fallen. Martial artists walk on the edge of life and death. Your talent is good, but it only means that you started earlier. You just become a martial artist. You just started on this path. Don't relax. Luo Feng is just the first opponent you have to surpass. In the future, you will surpass even more opponents. Wang Heng encouraged. I hope that one day, I can see the birth of a new war god. Wan Dong's blood was boiling. Yeah, Luo Feng is just the first opponent. In the future, he will surpass even more people until he becomes a war god. All right, you can go. You've been killing all night, so you should get some rest, smiled Wang Heng. Yes, supervisor. Wan Dong respectfully left. Wang Heng shook his head, raised his teacup, and took a sip. After all these years, ever since he took the position of supervisor, he has been trying his best to raise geniuses, either to pressure these geniuses or to attract them with money, instruction manuals, etc., etc. The more fighters he raises, the more powerful they become, and the more stable his position is. This Wan Dong, maybe he'll give me a surprise in the future, laughed Wang Heng. However, I won't ask for much from him. It'll be good enough if he can catch up to Luo Feng. He, an 18-year-old Wei level fighter with a good body fitness level. What a good seedling. Wang Heng shook his head and drank his tea, not thinking about it anymore. No matter what, Luo Feng and Wan Dong are just good seedlings. Jiangnan headquarters city's northern military sector. Luo Feng and Yang Wu, who had already changed into their own clothes, were chatting as they walked. Crazy, the way that Wan Dong was looking at you just now didn't seem right. He even said something like, he wants to compete with you to see who can become a warlord-level fighter first, said Yang Wu with confusion. Who knows what's going on, but that Wan Dong seems to be treating me as an opponent. Luo Feng was also confused about Wan Dong's words. However, he didn't know that after Wang Heng's words, Wan Dong has already treated Luo Feng as his first opponent. I passed the combat exam, so I need to notify my family, smiled Luo Feng as he took out his cell phone. Brother Yang, you should notify your family too. Okay, laughed Yang Wu as he nodded. Luo Feng and Yang Wu both call their families. Jiangnan headquarters city, Yangzhou City, Mingyue sector. Honghua, your family's Luo Feng will definitely pass this fighter combat exam. Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan pushed their son Luo Hua's wheelchair as they chatted with a white-haired old man. Is this combat exam dangerous? Gong Xianlan couldn't help but to ask. My family's phone said it's not dangerous, but we saw on the internet that it's dangerous. Okay, it's still a bit dangerous, the white-haired old man nodded. According to what my son said, the fighter combat exam usually has a 3% to 5% death rate. The disability rate is around 5% to 8%. In other words, over 100 prospective fighters will be crippled in a single fighter combat exam. Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan looked at each other and were extremely nervous. Your family's phone will be fine. Don't worry, laughed the white-haired old man. Okay, Luo Honghua and Gong Xianlan nodded. Even though they acted like that on the surface, they were still extremely nervous. Luo Hua, who was sitting in his wheelchair, didn't say a word, but his fists were tightly clenched. Suddenly, a cheerful ringtone rang. Gong Xianlan took out her phone from her pocket and let out a happy expression. She looked to the side and said, "It's Feng's call. Hurry up and answer it," said Luo Honghua. Luo Hua was also staring at his phone, and the white-haired old man was also smiling. Hello. Gong Xmlon picked up the phone and put it on speaker. Mom, I passed the fighter combat exam, so I'll be home tonight. You have to prepare some good food. The voice on the phone was heard by everyone around. Luo Hongwa laughed. Luo Hua, who was sitting in his wheelchair with his fists tightly clenched, finally relaxed and laughed. Okay, Mom will definitely prepare a lot of good food. Gong Xinlon was extremely excited. August 2nd, evening, Yangzhou City's Mingyue sector. Luo Feng's back. Congratulations, my ass. That fighter combat exam wasn't difficult for Luo Feng at all as he walked on the sector road. Luo Feng smiled as he greeted the fighters he saw. The number of fighters in human society is much smaller than the number of regular people. In this Mingyue sector, only the families of fighters can live here, and they all join the dojo of limits, so everyone naturally has a good relationship with each other. Mom, Dad, Luo Feng immediately saw his parents and the nanny standing in front of his door. Let's eat! Luo Hongwa immediately laughed. That night, Luo Feng and his family were extremely happy, since from this moment on, from a legal perspective, Luo Feng is now an official fighter. After 11 p.m., Luo Feng's home's second floor's recording room. They say that once you officially become a fighter, you can enter the dojo of Limit's internal fighter network. Luo Feng was a bit excited. Some special internal networks require a specific identity to enter. Only the fighters of the dojo of Limits have the right to enter the dojo of Limit's internal fighter network, Home of Limits, and the HR Alliance's platform. As long as you're a fighter, you can log in. Home of Limits, Luo Feng typed in the website through his keyboard. Suddenly, a gigantic 200-inch screen appeared on one of the walls of the recording room. The website, Home of Limits, immediately appeared on the screen. Beep! Luo Feng checked his fingerprint. Beautiful music flowed through the recording room like flowing water. At the same time, a person's page appeared on the gigantic screen. On the top was Luo Feng's picture, and below was a few information forms. Name, Luo Feng. Gender, mail address, China, Jiangnan Headquarters City Fighter Identification Number, 426-123-205608-010002 Level, Warrior, Beginner, Contribution, 0 points balance, 20 million Chinese dollars. Chapter 34. In the quiet video room, Luo Feng held a cup of hot tea and took a sip. His gaze landed on the gigantic screen on the wall of the video room. 20 million Chinese dollars? Sure enough, the money promised by the Dojo of Limits has arrived. At the top of the web page, there was a row of buttons. One of them was flashing, and there was a line of words on it. You have 2 new emails. Luo Feng's finger lightly tapped on the wireless keyboard and opened the mailbox. When he opened the first email, a video immediately appeared. Hello, Mr. Luo Feng. A middle-aged man wearing a black suit appeared on the gigantic screen and smiled. I am Chief Zhu Ji's assistant. I'm sure you've seen the 20 million that the chief promised. As for technique, blade, and Dao In techniques manuals, you can directly purchase them through the internal network as long as the price doesn't exceed 100 million. The internal network will reimburse you and won't deduct a single cent. If the price exceeds 100 million, Mr. Luo Feng will have to pay for the excess. At the same time, on behalf of the chief, I congratulate Mr. Luo Feng on passing the fighter combat exam. After saying that, the video ended. The Dojo of Limits treats me pretty well. Luo Feng opened the second email. It was also a video. Respected new fighter Luo Feng. Hello. I represent the Dojo of Limits in welcoming you to our big family. A sweet-looking girl smiled. This is the first time you've entered the Dojo of Limits internal network. Home of Limits. Let me introduce you to the uses of the Home of Limits. First, in the Home of Limits, you can purchase all sorts of weapons, Dao In techniques, technique manuals, attack type manuals like blade techniques, spear techniques, sword techniques, etc. There are also hot weapons, transportation tools, protective gear, communication systems, special bombs, special medicine, genetic medicine, and even some special materials and treasures. As long as you have enough money, you can buy them all. Once you pay, the goods will be delivered within 24 hours through the Home of Limits. You can even ask a warlord level fighter or even a war god level fighter to teach you one-on-one through the internet. Similarly, you have to pay enough money, the girl in the video smiled. If you have enough contribution points, then the prices of the above items will be halved. Luo Feng was shocked. Half. If he had enough contribution points, he would only need 50 million to buy an item that was worth 100 million. Contribution points were really useful. However, his current contribution points were only 0. There are many uses for contribution points, not just for purchasing items. For example, once your contribution points reach a certain level, you can call upon the Dojo of Limits special teams, etc. The girl in the video smiled. The more contribution points you have, the higher your position in the Dojo of Limits will be. You'll also have more power and benefits. There are two main ways to earn contribution points. One is to kill monsters and harvest an important material from the monster's body. Sell this important material to the Dojo of Limits. You can earn money and contribution points. The second is to donate to the Dojo of Limits. The more money you donate, the more contribution points you get. Currently, the ratio was donating 10,000 Chinese dollars would earn you 1 contribution point. In the donation system, the minimum donation was 10 million yuan, and martial artists could donate up to 100 billion yuan. In other words, the maximum number of contribution points you can get through the donation system is 10 million points. Luo Feng took in a deep breath. What the hell? There's a limit to donations? I can donate up to 100 billion? And the Dojo of Limits won't accept that much? It was 100 billion yuan. It seemed like the richest person in China on the Forbes list only had a little more than 100 billion yuan in assets. The wealthiest person in the world on the Forbes list only has 120 billion US dollars, which is equivalent to 420 billion Chinese dollars. Of course, the Forbes list only shows some of the wealthiest people in the world. For example, some of the wealthiest families have more wealth than some of the wealthiest people in the world. But that's the accumulation of their entire family. Mr. Luo Feng, let me remind you that killing monsters is the best way to earn contribution points. Not only can you earn contribution points, but you can also earn money, laughed the girl in the video. You have some money right now, so please don't buy it immediately. You can enter the Fighter Forums information section and carefully read up on some basic knowledge of fighters. This will be very beneficial for you when choosing manuals and buying weapons. Finally, I wish Mr. Luo Feng all the best in our Dojo of Limits family and reach the pinnacle of fighters. After saying that, the girl in the video bowed and the video ended. Luo Feng was shocked as he listened. The Dojo of Limits internal network, the home of limits, is indeed very useful. The thing that attracts Luo Feng the most is that he can use money to directly invite warlord or even war god level fighters to teach him one-on-one. Even though he has 20 million Chinese dollars, Luo Feng wasn't in a rush to buy weapons and other items. Instead, he wanted to familiarize himself with the Home of Limits internal network. The Home of Limits website has many functions. It's split into many sections, such as accepting missions, posting missions, chatting with guests, training sections, and donation systems. However, the two sections that attract Luo Feng the most are the Fighter Forum and the Internet Marketplace. The Internet Marketplace has everything. All sorts of Dao-in techniques, agility instruction manuals, blade instruction manuals, hot weapons, cold weapons, genetic medicine, etc. In short, the Internet Marketplace is a place to spend money. Fighter Forum. Luo Feng entered the forum and then entered the Basic Fighter Knowledge Database subforum. In this subforum, there weren't any replies. There was only a large amount of basic information. Spirit Reader, Spirit Reader. Luo Feng kept flipping through the pages, looking for information on Spirit Readers. Finally, HM? That's it. Luo Feng saw a post. Simple descriptions of Spirit Readers. Brothers, I see that you guys don't know much about Spirit Readers, so I'll give you a simple introduction. Luo Feng laughed when he saw this first sentence. Clearly, this so-called Fighter Forum database is just a collection of posts written by many fighters and isn't official information. Spirit Readers can be said to be the most feared group of people in the circle of fighters. First of all, you can't become a Spirit Reader just by training. Every Spirit Reader is talented and awakened on their own. The post description was very colloquial. When they haven't awakened, they might just be normal fighters. But when they awaken, then they become powerful. How powerful? First of all, spirit readers are split into two types. One type of spirit reader controls objects. In other words, they control things like spikes and throwing knives to attack from afar. Spirit readers can control objects from afar, which is much more powerful than some heavy sniper rifle bullets. A sniper rifle bullet's trajectory is pretty much a straight line, and the weapons controlled by spirit readers don't have any pattern. Besides the pattern, the damage is also different. For example, heavy machine guns and heavy sniper rifles have limited damage. Even the best sniper rifles have a hard time killing a low-level commander-level monster. However, the power of a spirit reader's spikes and flying knives increases with their spirit reader's power. There are quite a few spirit readers who can kill horde leader-level monsters among spirit readers, besides those who can control objects. The second type is to directly attack the monster's soul. This type is a bit more mysterious. It directly attacks the monster's soul. Once it succeeds, the monster's body won't be harmed at all, but it will immediately die. However, attacking the soul is a bit difficult. Apparently, there are very, very few spirit readers who know how to use spiritual attacks. Besides controlling objects from afar and spiritual attacks, there are other types of spirit readers. However, I'm not too sure about them. Luo Feng looked at every word, not daring to miss a single sentence. Actually, what I'm most jealous of is the speed at which spirit readers improve. Spirit reader masters were born with extremely powerful spirit reader powers. However, when they were young, their bodies couldn't handle such powerful spiritual force, so they hid it in their subconscious. When their fitness level gets stronger and stronger, they reach a certain level. Then, their spiritual force will appear. The stronger your fitness level, the more spiritual force you can handle. Fighters are divided into the warrior level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, warrior level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, war god level, beginner, intermediate, advanced, a total of 9 levels. The difference between your fitness level and your spiritual force is 2 levels. If your body is at the beginner warrior level, then your spiritual force is at the advanced warrior level. If your body is at the intermediate warrior level, then your spiritual force is at the beginner warlord level. Spirit readers have a period of rapid increase in strength because they were born with extremely powerful spiritual force. It's just that it always hides in their subconscious. As your body gets stronger, the hidden spiritual force will appear more. As your body gets stronger, your spiritual force gets stronger, until one day, all of the hidden spiritual force is unearthed. At this time, the spirit reader's increase in strength will become extremely slow. Luo Feng froze when he saw this part. So, when a spirit reader increases in strength, it's actually unearthing the hidden spiritual force. Only with a strong enough body can you handle enough spiritual force. So, the potential of a spirit reader depends on how much spiritual force is hidden in their subconscious. Some of the hidden spiritual force exists in a liquid form, while others exist in a liquid and solid form. Some exist in a completely solid form. Legend has it that in the subconscious, if the hidden spiritual force condenses into a solid form, it means that the spiritual force is extremely powerful. It's the group of people with the highest potential in the spiritual force community. As their fitness level increases, the spiritual force in the solid form will continuously be released, causing their strength to increase until one day, when the solid form completely disintegrates. Only then will their period of rapid increase in strength end. Luo Feng suppressed the excitement in his heart and continued to read until he finished reading the entire post. After that, Luo Feng flipped through the database and found 2 other posts about spirit readers. The descriptions are pretty much the same. Looks like it's true. Luo Feng nodded. Then, the dark golden ball in my subconscious should be a solid form formed by an extremely large amount of spiritual force. I'm so lucky that I survived after awakening. Luo Feng sighed. According to the 3 posts that he saw, when a spirit reader awakens, their subconscious will instantly explode with an extremely large amount of spiritual force. If the awakening fails, they can become an idiot, a vegetable, or even die from bleeding from their orifices. No wonder my head hurts every day since I was young. And I even fainted a few times, Luo Feng realized. Looks like my body is too weak and my spiritual force is too strong. My body can't handle it, which is why my head hurts. And as my body fitness level increases, this headache keeps decreasing. Now it's completely gone. Ever since Luo Feng awakened, his headache has completely disappeared. The dark golden ball is actually a solid form formed by spiritual force. I wonder just how much spiritual force it contains. Luo Feng couldn't help but to guess. Chapter 35. Luo Feng flipped through a lot of posts in the fighter forum, such as 50 questions for a fighter to kill a monster, wilderness survival knowledge, how to avoid provoking a commander-level monster, 28 ways to escape. All sorts of posts made Luo Feng understand a lot. He also understood the hardships of a martial artist. Martial artists had a high status in human society, but that was earned by risking their lives. Yes, these posts make sense. Movement techniques, offensive techniques, and Daoyin techniques are the most important to a martial artist. The Daoyin technique determined the improvement of a martial artist's strength, and one's technique and attacks determine a fighter's battle strength. Luo Feng also agreed after reading the thread. These 3 secret manuals were the most important to a martial artist. If you have money, you should spend it on these 3 areas. No wonder the Dojo of Limits promised to let me buy these 3 instruction manuals for free. Luo Feng also knew that the Dojo of Limits wanted their people to be strong. Let's enter the online shopping mall to take a look. Luo Feng tapped on the wireless keyboard and entered the web store page. Suddenly, the gigantic screen on the recording room's wall displayed all sorts of detailed item categories. Luo Feng selected instruction manuals, attack type, and clicked 3 times. Suddenly, the screen showed pictures of instruction manuals, along with their names and prices. Armageddon type, spear technique evaluation, ultimate. Price, 100 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 50 billion Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 4-star contribution points, 9-fold Thunderblade, type, blade technique. Evaluation, ultimate. Price, 100 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 50 billion Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 4-star contribution points, phantom blade technique. Type, blade technique. Evaluation, SS price, 10 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 5 billion Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 3-star contribution points. Fog sword. Type. Sword technique. Grade. S price. 3 billion Chinese dollars. Full price. 1. 5 billion Chinese dollars. Half price. Requirement. 3-star contribution points. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed as he looked at the huge list of instruction manuals. Heavens, the world's strongest martial artist, Hong Spear Art Armageddon, is also being sold? This 9-stage Thunderblade belongs to the second strongest person in the world, God of Thunder? Luo Feng was immediately captivated by the ultimate spear technique and blade technique at the very top. But the price at the back made him dumbfounded. Full price of 100 billion? The half price was 50 billion, and the requirement for the half price was to have 4-star contribution points. 4-star contribution points. That means 10 million contribution points? Luo Feng was very clear about the classification of contribution points. Once the contribution points reached 10,000, they would be promoted to 1 star. When one's contribution points reached 100,000, they would be ranked as 2 stars. When the contribution points reached 1 million, they would be promoted to 3 stars. Once the contribution points reached 10 million, they would be ranked 4 stars. 50 million contribution points was the legendary 5-star contribution points. It was almost impossible to reach 5 stars. The difficulty was too high. Armageddon is known as the world's #1 offensive technique. Luo Feng clicked on Destroyer and opened it. He curiously looked at the introduction of Destroyer. After all, this is the strongest spear technique on Earth. Most fighters who read this instruction manual would probably look at the introduction. Hmm. Luo Feng stared. Surprisingly, there were many offers on the Armageddon manual. Armageddon, all 6 levels, price, 100 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 50 billion Chinese dollars, half price. Requirements: 4-star contribution points. Armageddon, first 5 levels, price, 40 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 20 billion Chinese dollars, half price. Requirements: 4-star contribution points. Armageddon, first 4 levels, price, 15 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 5 billion Chinese dollars, half price. Requirements: 3-star contribution points. Armageddon, first level, price, 200 million Chinese dollars, full price, 100 million Chinese dollars, half price. Requirements: 1-star contribution points. What? This instruction manual can be split and sold. Luo Feng thought about it carefully. That's right. If an ultimate spear technique like Armageddon were to be sold, who could afford it? The price would be astronomical. Also, even if someone bought it, they would have to start training from the first level. How many fighters can train to the 6th level? Most fighters would probably only be able to train to the first level in their entire lives and would never be able to break through to the 2nd level. This ultimate instruction manual, no wonder it's the attack technique of the world's strongest fighter. Luo Feng stared at the introduction. Who would have thought that this spear technique would have a movement technique as well? Buying this instruction manual is the same as buying both the agility instruction manual and the attack instruction manual. Luo Feng was indeed tempted. Sadly, 1. He's a blade user. 2. He can't afford it at that price. 9-stage Thunderblade, an ultimate instruction manual, just like Armageddon. Luo Feng immediately opened the 9-stage Thunderblade webpage. If Luo Feng was looking at the Armageddon instruction manual out of curiosity, then Luo Feng was looking at the 9-stage Thunderblade manual. Now that he's looking at the 9-stage Thunderblade manual, Luo Feng was looking forward to it. 9-stage Thunderblade. This is the instruction manual that every blade user wants the most. Luo Feng carefully looked at the introduction. The introduction said that this 9-stage Thunderblade is the hardest technique to learn in the world. Even though it's called a blade technique, it also has a movement technique, and it has a unique Dao-In technique. The reason why the 9-stage Thunderblade is hard to learn is because it has extremely high requirements for the body's strength, muscle sensitivity, etc. A blade technique that has a movement technique and Dao-In technique. Luo Feng was overjoyed. If the price is right, I can buy it. Luo Feng carefully looked at the price. 9-stage Thunderblade, all 9 stages. Price, 100 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 50 billion Chinese dollars, half price requirement. For star contribution points, 9-stage Thunderblade, first 8 stages. Price, 50 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 25 billion Chinese dollars, half price requirement. For star contribution points, 9-stage Thunderblade, first 5 stages. Price, 2 billion Chinese dollars, full price, 1 billion Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 3-star contribution points, 9-stage Thunderblade, first 4 stages. Price, 500 million Chinese dollars, full price, 250 million Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 2-star contribution points, 9-stage Thunderblade, first 3 stages. Price, 200 million Chinese dollars, full price, 100 million Chinese dollars, half price. Requirement: 2-star contribution points, 9-stage Thunderblade, first 2 stages. Price, 100 million Chinese dollars, full price, 50 million Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 2-star contribution points, 9-stage Thunderblade, first stage. Price, 50 million Chinese dollars, full price, 25 million Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 1-star contribution points. Luo Feng looked at the price. Clearly, the 9-stage Thunderblade has 9 stages, so it's clearly cheaper than the Armageddon. Luo Feng frowned. At the bottom of the web page, there was an eye-catching red notification. 9-stage Thunderblade is an ultimate blade technique. It's extremely difficult to learn and extremely difficult to learn. Countless fighters choose this blade technique, but they can't even learn the first stage. Please choose this blade technique carefully. Luo Feng looked at the notification and hesitated. Clearly, this blade technique is extremely difficult to learn, but once it's learned, it's extremely powerful. Should I buy it or not? Since it's not a small amount. In the dark recording room, the large screen displayed the introduction of the 9-stage Thunderblade. Luo Feng sat quietly on the sofa thinking by himself. If he really wants to buy the 9-stage Thunderblade, it's not a small amount. Even for fighters, this amount of money is astronomical. If I'm going to learn it, I'll learn the best. Luo Feng clenched his teeth and his eyes lit up. I don't believe that I can't learn it. Ever since he was young, Luo Feng has always worked hard. I'm a spirit reader, and the spiritual force hidden in my realm of consciousness has formed into a dark golden ball. My strength will increase by leaps and bounds. I don't believe that I can't learn the 9-stage Thunderblade. Luo Feng has always had a belief, which is also what the Dojo of Limits teaches its students. Pursue the limit and surpass the limit. There's another saying, if you don't want to be the world's #1 fighter, then you're not a qualified fighter. I'll definitely learn the 9-stage Thunderblade. Luo Feng took in a deep breath and lightly tapped the screen. Please confirm if you want to buy the first 3 stages of the 9-stage Thunderblade. You need to pay 100 million Chinese dollars. A notification appeared on the screen. This is Luo Feng's first purchase. According to the contract between him and the Dojo of Limits, the first time he buys an attack technique, agility technique, or blade technique, he doesn't have to pay any contribution points and can enjoy the best price. Confirm. Luo Feng tapped. Please pass fingerprint verification and confirm again. A notification appeared on the screen. Luo Feng placed his finger on the fingerprint detector on the wireless keyboard. Beep. Fingerprint verification completed. Purchase successful. Deduction successful. The first 3 stages of the 9-stage Thunderblade will be delivered to Mr. Luo Feng's home. Within 24 hours, a notification appeared on the screen. Chapter 36. Luckily, according to my contract with the Dojo of Limits, the first time I buy, I can ignore the contribution point limit and buy at the best price. Luo Feng felt his heart racing. He couldn't help it. This is a whole 100 million Chinese dollars. Buying Zhang Hao Bai's villa would be a piece of cake. What's more, Luo Feng's family hasn't been doing well financially. Spending 100 million at once. You can imagine how he feels. Good thing it's not my money, Luo Feng grinned. After successfully buying the instruction manual, the next step is to buy weapons, battle uniforms, etc. I have 20 million to start with, so I'll save as much as I can. Luo Feng opened the list of weapons and quickly found the Ghost Blade No. 2 series. Ghost Blade No. 2 series, A1, price 100,000 Chinese dollars, full price. 50,000 Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 1 contribution point. Ghost Blade No. 2 series, A2, price 500,000 Chinese dollars, full price. 250,000 Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 1 contribution point. No. 2 series, A5, price 6 million Chinese dollars, full price. 3 million Chinese dollars, half price requirement. 1 star contribution point. Luo Feng carefully looked at the descriptions of the various models and couldn't help but to frown. My strength is increasing very quickly. I believe that soon, my body fitness level will reach the advanced warrior level. Since I'm buying a weapon, I naturally have to buy a good one. If it's a regular beginner level warrior, usually you just have to buy an A2 or A3. The contribution point here is 1, and you only need to donate $10,000 to get it. Actually, this so-called 1 contribution point is used to differentiate between the fighters inside the dojo and the fighters outside. Since the Dojo of Limits has an internal network, the home of Limits online market, they also have a real fighter market. Fighters from other forces can also buy it, and fighters from other forces can only buy it at full price. With my strength increasing speed, I need to at least buy an A5 or A6 Ghost Blade. Luo Feng shook his head. However, this model requires 1 star contribution point. 1 star, that's 10,000 contribution points. When he bought the instruction manual, he could ignore the contribution point requirement and buy it at the best price. This kind of discount only exists when buying the instruction manual for the first time. However, when buying weapons, battle uniforms, etc., there's no such discount. Bloodshadow Saber A6, full price $20 million. The full price of the A5 model is $6 million. Luo Feng shook his head. The A5 model can fight against most medium-level commander monsters without worrying about the weapon breaking. A6 model weapons can fight against most high-level beast general monsters without worrying about the weapon breaking. With the speed at which he was improving his strength, low-model weapons were obviously not suitable for him. Full price? Too expensive. Luo Feng shook his head. Look at the shield. Luo Feng opened up the shield's page and looked carefully. The price of a shield was much cheaper than a blade. The B5 model, which could also defend against Lieutenant General Beast Generals, had a full price of 3 million Chinese dollars and a half price of 1,500,000 Chinese dollars. However, the contribution requirement was still 1 star. Backpack. When surviving in the wild and fighting with monsters, the backpacks carried were also special equipment. First of all, the quality of the backpack itself had to be good. Secondly, it was suitable for the cultivator to fight with monsters. It could not affect the cultivator's movements. Backpacks are the cheapest. They only require 1 contribution point. A good one would only cost 100,000-inch. Luo Feng let out a smile. Battle tactical communications watches have satellite positioning, time, phone calls, and many other functions. The price is okay too, also 100,000. Actually, those functions weren't worth much. A cell phone on the market that costs a few hundred has functions like making calls, time, and satellite positioning. The reason why the tactical communications watch costs 100,000 is because of the expensive material. When fighting with monsters, a monster's claw might touch the tactical communications watch. How could the watch be cheap if it was sturdy enough to defend against a monster's attack? Blade, shield, watch, backpack, I've seen them all. The only thing left is the full battle uniform set, including the boots. Luo Feng heard that a battle uniform set is usually the most expensive piece of equipment a fighter has, because the battle uniform set not only has to have good defense, but it also has to be comfortable and not affect the fighter's quick movements. Luo Feng opened it and looked. Holy! So expensive. Luo Feng was completely dumbfounded. Even the D5 series battle uniform set, which can defend against a medium-level commander, along with the arm guard and boots, costs 18 million Chinese dollars at full price. Even half price is 9 million Chinese dollars. The full price of the D6 is 80 million Chinese dollars. He already knew that battle uniforms were expensive, but he didn't think that the 5th series battle uniform set was 3 times more expensive than a blade of the same level. Now that he calculated, with the same set of 5 series, the battle uniform set is 18 million, the Ghost Blade is 6 million, and the shield is 3 million, for a total of 27 million. If he had a 1-star contribution star, then he would only need 5 million. As for the battle watch and backpack, they're nothing compared to the battle uniform set, etc. I also want to buy throwing knives that can be controlled by my spiritual force. At the very least, I need to buy 6 or 10 of them. Luo Feng opened the page for throwing knives again. Throwing knives are small toys. They're small, and their weight is even smaller. Naturally, the price of throwing knives is much cheaper than the Ghost Blade. The full price of a 5th series throwing knife is only 50,000 Chinese dollars. The full price of a 6th series throwing knife is only 300,000 Chinese dollars. The full price of a 7th series throwing knife is 3 million Chinese dollars. Half price is 5 million Chinese dollars requirement. 2-star contribution star. That's a full 10 times increase. A 7th series throwing knife, if it's strong enough, can completely damage a low-level horde leader monster. The difference between a commander and a horde leader is huge. Luo Feng didn't think that the difference between the prices of these weapons would be so huge. My spiritual force is very strong, and it's going to grow very quickly. I originally wanted to buy a 7th series throwing knife, but one costs 3 million, and the half price requirement is a 2-star contribution star. If I buy 5 or 6 of them, It'll cost around 10 million. Or can I even afford it? This amount of money isn't even enough to spend. Luo Feng originally thought that 20 million was a lot, but now he realized that the price of a fighter's equipment is ridiculously high. Actually, Luo Feng didn't know that the price of these equipment isn't ridiculously high. Keep in mind that even a missile can't kill a horde leader monster. For a throwing knife to be able to pierce through it, one can imagine how high the quality of the throwing knife itself is. A throwing knife for 3 million Chinese dollars is a reasonable price range. Actually, fighters spend a lot of money to buy weapons. However, after they kill powerful monsters, the money they earn will also be quite good. Sadly, Luo Feng hasn't started earning money yet. Around 10 a.m. on the second day, Mingyue Sector, Luo Feng's private garden. A stranger arrived. Mr. Luo Feng, this is the instruction manual you bought. You can open it with your fingerprint. Luo Feng received the sealed alloy box and swiped his finger across the top of the alloy box. Beep. Fingerprint verified. An electronic sound rang and the alloy box opened, revealing a book that was around a centimeter thick. On top of the book were 2 discs. 9-stage Thunderblade. Luo Feng looked at the 4 words on the book. Mr. Luo Feng, open it and take a look. After confirming it, please sign here, smiled the delivery man. However, his gaze towards Luo Feng contained a bit of envy. 9-stage Thunderblade. Normal fighters can't afford it. Mr. Luo Feng, I'm sure you know the rules for buying instruction manuals, right? Laughed the delivery man. According to the rules, I'll say it again. The copyright of the instruction manual belongs to the creator. The 9-stage Thunderblade belongs to Thunder God. The buyer only has the right to learn it, but not the right to pass it on. You can't copy, sell, or teach the instruction manual. If anyone violates this rule, the Dojo of Limits, the Thunder Dojo, the Underground Alliance, and the government's army will work together to kill you. Luo Feng nodded. Of course he knew this rule. After checking it, the delivery man left. Just 1 instruction manual and 2 discs cost 100 million Chinese dollars. Luo Feng stood in his garden and sighed. Luo Feng stood in his garden and sighed. Creating instruction manuals is still the most profitable. For example, Thunder God's 9-stage Thunderblade. The more people buy it, the more money he earns. After some calculations, it's not hard to imagine just how much money Thunder God earned. However, for Thunder God, who created the Thunder Dojo, money doesn't mean much. Right as Luo Feng was about to enter his house with the instruction manual, Luo Feng, a voice rang. Luo Feng turned his head and saw that the person who came was the chief instructor of the Dojo of Limits, Wu Tong. Uncle Wu laughed. Luo Feng, I just saw the delivery man from headquarters. You bought something? Laughed Wu Tong. Yeah, nodded Luo Feng. 9-stage Thunderblade? Wu Tong saw the 4 words on the cover of the instruction manual in Luo Feng's hand and was shocked. You're actually willing to buy this? Instruction manuals are strictly controlled by the major powers of the world. It's not my money anyway, laughed Luo Feng, and then said helplessly, however, I realize that I really don't have enough money right now. Buying blades, battle uniforms, etc. really costs a lot of money. Oh yeah, Luo Feng, I came here to tell you something. Chief Instructor Wu Tong laughed. Not long ago, was there a young man named Zhang Haobai who offended you? Luo Feng froze. Zhang Haobai. I haven't even had the chance to cause trouble for him yet. Yeah, he tried to find people to break my arms and legs, nodded Luo Feng. It's like this. Zhang Haobai's uncle, Zhang Zhe, who is a fighter from the Thunder Dojo. He asked the chief instructor of the Thunder Dojo in Yangzhou City to help him out. He's prepared to settle this privately, laughed Chief Instructor Wu Tong. Luo Feng, aren't you short on money? This is an opportunity to make money. You can take this opportunity to earn a lot. Chapter 37. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. In the database of the Home of Limits Warrior Forum, there were many posts about the grudges between warriors. For example, in China, fighters are under the control of the government in the 6 headquarters cities and are bound by the law. However, once you leave the headquarters cities and enter the monster's territory, you won't be bound by the law. That's a place where fighters and monsters kill each other. A place where there are no laws. Fighters walk on the edge of life and death. so it's not rare for them to have conflicts and kill each other. And the dojos and governments don't want to see this. Fighters are humanity's wealth. They are humanity's greatest weapon against the monsters. They don't want fighters to lose too much in internal conflicts. So there's the saying of internal negotiations and private negotiations. If everyone has grudges, then we can sit at the negotiating table and settle our grudges. If we can't negotiate, then that's another story. Luo Feng, you're just a newbie who just entered the circle of fighters. It's better to have fewer enemies. Chief Instructor Wu Tong laughed. You just started, so you need money. Okay, Luo Feng nodded. Private negotiations are the best. Uncle Wu, but we can't let Zhang Haobai go so easily. If I was weak, then I would have had my arms and legs broken. Of course, Wu Tong nodded. If we don't make them bleed once, they'll think that the Dojo of Limits is afraid of them. Uncle Wu, how much should I ask for? Luo Feng asked. He doesn't really understand the rules, so it's better to ask first. Wu Tong sighed and said, if the person who messed with you is a normal person, then don't ask for more than 50 million Chinese dollars. And Luo Feng, you're an elite of our dojo, so you can't ask for less. At least 10 million Chinese dollars. Between 10 million and 50 million, you could just name a number. Okay, Luo Feng thought and nodded. If you agree, then I'll tell them to meet tonight, laughed Wu Tong. Okay, thanks Uncle Wu, smiled Luo Feng as he nodded. Luo Feng went back and put away the 9-stage Thunderblade instruction manual. He entered the Home of Limits intranet and carefully searched for private negotiations between fighters. Oh, so that's how it is. This compensation even has to do with face. Luo Feng read through many posts and finally had a plan for tonight's negotiation. Little Feng, it's time to eat. Mother Gong Xianlan's voice came from downstairs. Coming, Mom. Luo Feng turned off the power and immediately went downstairs. In the living room downstairs, father and mother were holding their bowls of rice, and one of the nannies was cooking. Where's Luo Hua? Asked Luo Feng in confusion. Still not back? As of now, the family hired 2 nannies, both middle-aged women around 40 years old. One was to take care of his younger brother, Luo Hua. After all, Luo Hua had many things that were inconvenient for him. With someone taking care of him, he could go out more often. Your brother is at the Lotus Lake Park. I just called him, and he will be here soon. Luo Hong was smiled. Why has brother been going to the park a lot these days? Asked Luo Feng curiously. Beside him, his mother, Gong Xianlan, laughed softly. Little Feng, your brother has a girlfriend. Dating? Luo Feng was shocked. Even though there are quite a few handicapped people in society nowadays, such as the soldiers who join the army. Many of them are handicapped when fighting against monsters. Handicapped people can still date, get married, and have children. However, her brother had only moved in for a month. In such a short amount of time, he's already dating? Feng, don't listen to your mother. Your brother has a girl right now, but he hasn't reached that stage yet. Laughed Luo Honghua. Who cares? My brother dating is a good thing for him. Luo Honghua was still happy. No matter if this relationship succeeds or fails, it's still an experience in life. This is good for her brother. Yangzhou City's Xi'an region, Sky Capital Garden sector. Uncle, Zhang Haobai looked at his uncle Zhang Zehu. These past few days, Zhang Haobai has been living in fear. Even when he sleeps at night, he's afraid that people from the security bureau will come and take him away. Tiger, as long as we can protect Haobai, it's okay for us to suffer a bit. Zhang Zeilong couldn't help but to say. Big brother, don't worry. Zhang Ze, who was very tall and muscular. He gave off the feeling that he was a ferocious beast. Zhang Zehu grinned, revealing his snow-white teeth. That little bastard Luo Feng, a newbie fighter, he's only fought against the weakest monsters in the military. After becoming a fighter, he knows the rules. He won't mess around. If he really does mess around, messing around with me, the mountain tiger is just looking for death. Seeing how confident their uncle was, Zhang Zeilong and Zhang Hao let out a sigh of relief. All right, leave it to me. I'm going. Zhang Zehu waved his hand and headed outside. There was a 6-wheeled, heavy modified Hummer parked outside. There was even a person in the car looking out and laughing. Brother, who done? Yeah, let's go and pick up Oldly. After that, we'll go to the limit hall, said Zhang Zehu as he got in the car. All right, rumble. The six-wheeled Hummer let out a low and powerful sound as it quickly left the Sky Capital Garden sector. Evening, Yangzhou City's Mingyu sector, in a guest room on the second floor of the limit hall. Luo Feng and a group of people were here. Feng, what a coincidence today. Your Uncle Kong and Big Brother Chun are both here today, laughed Wu Tong. Wu Tong laughed loudly. Luo Feng also greeted the two people beside him. Of the two people beside Wu Tong, one of them was extremely skinny. His face had a scar that almost split his entire face into two. Just being stared at by him would cause people to feel fear. And the other person had a sturdy body, thick eyebrows, and fierce eyes. One look, and you can tell that he's a very passionate person. Big Brother Chun, Uncle Kong, yelled Luo Feng. These two weren't ordinary people. Currently, there were a total of 3 warlord-level fighters living in the Extreme Hall in Yangzhou City. They were Chief Instructor Wu Tong, Cannon Chen Gu, and Eagle Blade Kong Quan. Wu Tong has already retired and no longer fights monsters. Cannon Chen Gu and Eagle Blade Kong Quan often leave the headquarters city to hunt monsters. These two people are the leaders of the fighters in the Mingyu sector. Feng, we all know about your situation. Don't worry, we'll help you out. Laughed Cannon Chen Gu. Fuck, no matter how arrogant the Thunder Dojo's people are, they wouldn't dare to bully us. Yeah, Eagle Blade Kong Quan slightly nodded. After a while, in the guest room, the people from the Limit Hall and the Thunder Dojo sat on two sides. There were around 20 people on the Limit Hall side, while the Thunder Dojo's side only had 8 people. Wu Tong, this is indeed the fault of Huzi's nephew, laughed a bearded brute. However, that nephew of his is just a kid. How old is he? What does he know? And he's just a normal person, not a fighter, so there's no need to hold it against him. Oldly, don't talk about useless things, laughed a bearded brute. However, that nephew of his is just a kid. Oldly, don't talk about useless things. Oldly, don't talk about those useless things, laughed Wu Tong as he shook his head. This situation can't be any clearer. You guys came here to settle this privately, right? Zhang Zhe, who, in the fighter circle, is known as Mountain Tiger. The weapon he uses is a gigantic mountain-splitting blade that he holds in both hands. He's known for his bravery and ruthlessness. Chief Wu, Zhang Zhe, who slightly smiled and his gaze landed on Luo Feng. Little Luo should talk about this personally. Little Luo, how do you think we should settle this to your satisfaction? Shut up. Eagle Blade Kong Quan glared on the side and scolded. Luo Feng is a good brother of our Limit Hall. Little Luo, only you have the right to call him that. Zhang Zhe, who froze. Eagle Blade Kong Quan is a ruthless person in the fighter circle. Even Zhang Zhe, who doesn't dare to mess with him. Zhang Zhe, who, Mr. Zhang, Luo Feng stood up and slightly smiled. I'm a bit embarrassed to have so many of my brothers come out for this. Actually, if I were to follow my own thoughts. If that Zhang Haobao wants to break my legs, that's a small matter. But if he dares to hit my dad, then he's looking for death. Luo Feng glared as he roared. Zhang Zhe, who was startled. The fighters from the Limit Hall all laughed. This mountain tiger, Zhang Zhe, who is an experienced fighter. He's now an advanced warrior fighter, only one step away from the warlord level. Luo Feng actually dared to glare at him. This caused the fighters from the Limit Hall to feel that this kid Luo Feng is quite brave. Luo Feng, what do you plan on doing? Speak. Zhang Zhe, who was a bit annoyed and his face was ugly. Luo Feng laughed. Zhang Zehu's anger? He really didn't care about it. Ignoring the future, Luo Feng's current fitness level is above the intermediate warrior level and is close to the advanced warrior level. As for his spiritual force, according to the difference of 2 ranks between his fitness level and spiritual force, he's at least at the beginner level warlord level. Just one sentence, 50 million Chinese dollars. I, Luo Feng, will give you face and let this go, smiled Luo Feng. You're really asking for too much, 50 million. Zhang Zehu glared. This price is too high, frowned head instructor Li of the Thunder Dojo. Luo Feng slightly smiled and didn't say anything. The price isn't high, smiled head instructor Wu Tong of the Limit Hall. Luo Feng, I'll also give you a price, 5 million. I'll give you 5 million and let this go. Also, give me face. Otherwise, you're not giving me face. Zhang Zehu glared at Luo Feng. 5 million? The people from the limit hall also frowned. Just Canon Chingu and Eagle Blade Kong Quan showed up today. Even if you give them face, you shouldn't give such a low price. If the price is too low, you're not giving them face. Otherwise, I'm not giving you face. Luo Feng also glared. Zhang Zehu, I'll also say this. 50 million, not a single cent less. If you go 1 cent less, then prepare to meet your nephew in the Security Bureau. Chapter 38. Zhang Zehu was so angry that he started laughing. He didn't think that a newbie like Luo Feng wouldn't give him any face. 50 million, and not a single cent less? Zhang Zehu's eyes flashed fiercely, as if he wanted to eat someone alive. Luo Feng didn't care at all. He's seen quite a few posts in the Home of Limits, so he knows that when negotiating, it's taboo to lower one's head. Whoever lowers their head means that they're weaker than the other. And since Luo Feng was the one in the right, logically speaking, if two people are of the same status, the one who made the mistake should apologize. But Zhang Ze, who is very arrogant, clearly bullying Luo Feng for being a newbie. Sadly, Luo Feng didn't buy it. All right, listen to me, said the head of the dojo of limits, Wu Tong, Luo Feng, and Mountain Tiger. Both of you take a step back. 30 million Chinese dollars. Zhang Zehu, 30 million Chinese dollars isn't much to you. Take it out, and we'll forget about this. Luo Feng, you don't have any objections, right? Luo Feng nodded. We'll do as Uncle Wu says. Mountain Tiger, what about you? Wu Tong looked towards Zhang Zehu. In the entire meeting room, everyone's gazes landed on Zhang Zehu. Zhang Zehu angrily stood up and laughed. You want me to lower my head to this little bastard? Dream on. Old Li brothers, let's go. If you don't agree, then you'll have to pay 100 million to protect your nephew, laughed Wu Tong. I'd rather give the country 100 million than 30 million. Zhang Zehu sneered as he looked at Luo Feng and sneered. Kid, being a fighter isn't that easy. Wait until you leave the headquarters city and you'll know how scary monsters are. All sorts of dangerous situations can happen suddenly. Monster towns in the military can't compare. The monsters in the military are all raised in captivity, so they're the weakest. I hope you don't die so early, or else how will you play with me in the future? Oh yeah, let me remind you, I'm not too far away from the warlord level. How long will you have to wait to reach the warlord level? And can you live that long? Luo Feng slightly smiled. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Zhang Zehu. However, you should think about how to prepare 100 million for the country to protect your nephew. Zhang Zehu's face darkened. Let's go. 100 million, 100 million. Canon Chingu purposely shouted. Zhang Zehu's group didn't say much and directly left. Seeing that group of people leave, the people from the dojo of limits in the meeting room started to make a ruckus. This Zhang Zehu's temper is really as bad as the rumors say. It was clearly his nephew's fault, but he refused to bow his head. Wu Tong smiled and shook his head. He would rather pay 100 million than settle it with 30 million. The dojo had contribution points, and so did the country. Those who had rendered meritorious service to the country will be given a certain amount of contribution points based on the size of their contribution. If they had 10,000 contribution points, they would be given a 1-star rating. 100,000 points was equivalent to 2 stars. This was the same data as the dojo. Back then, Dong Nanbiao, who had single-handedly slain a strange tiger-headed dragon at the banks of the Yangtze River and sacrificed himself to save hundreds of thousands of civilians, was posthumously awarded the title of a 4-star hero. By donating to the dojo, one could also donate to the country for contribution points. 1 contribution point for 10,000 Chinese dollars. 100 million Chinese dollars was equivalent to 10,000 contribution points, which was equivalent to 1 star. If Zhang Zehu refused to negotiate with Luo Feng, then the only way was to donate 100 million to the country for his nephew and raise his nephew's contribution points to 1 star. As a 1-star citizen, Zhang Haobai had special privileges. He wouldn't be sentenced for so many years just because of his conflict with Luo Feng. Even if he donated 100 million to the country to raise his nephew to one-star citizen. But a one-star citizen dares to fight against fighters. Even if he doesn't get sentenced, he'll still be locked up for 3 to 5 months and suffer. Artillery Chun Gu shook his head. Who can you blame if he refuses to bow his head? He's rich, so he doesn't care. The fighters of the dojo of limits laughed. Luo Feng, Chief Instructor Wu Tong laughed. According to Chief Zhu Ji's orders, I'll arrange for you to enter the Warlord-level fighter squad. This way, you'll have an easier time training outside of the city. Your safety will also be guaranteed. I've also helped you negotiate with the Fire Hammer Squad to let you join them Fire Hammer Squad. Luo Feng slightly nodded. That Chief Zhu Gu indeed values him. From the beginning, he let him join the Warlord-level fighter squad. The squads that leave the city and enter the wilderness to hunt monsters have different levels of strength. Generally, if there was one Warlord-level martial artist in a small team, it would be considered a Warlord-level martial artist team. Luo Feng. Artillery Chun Gu patted Luo Feng's shoulder and laughed. I'm the vice captain of the Fire Hammer Squad. If you follow me in the future, I'll take care of you. However, Luo Feng, I have to say this first. Our Fire Hammer Squad will give you a chance to train and let you get used to killing monsters. However, you have to work hard and not rely on the help of the other squad members. If you still can't get used to it after your first mission, we can only kick you out of the squad. Brother Chun, I understand. Luo Feng laughed as he nodded. Fighter squads are all on the edge of life and death. If there's a burden in the squad, then the impact will be huge. I'm relieved that you understand. Also, Artillery Chun Gu laughed. Have you bought your weapons and equipment yet? Not yet. I'm preparing to buy some better weapons and equipment. However, only those with 1-star contribution points can be bought at half price. Luo Feng shook his head helplessly. Artillery Chun Gu immediately laughed. That's easy. Tell me what weapons and equipment you want to buy, and I'll buy them for you. You don't have enough contribution points, but I do. I'm not far from a 2-star contribution point. I can definitely buy them at half price. Later, you can just transfer the money to my account, right? Okay, Chief Instructor Wu Tong nodded on the side. It's fine to get someone else to buy normal cold weapons and hot weapons. Of course, you can't get someone else to buy the instruction manuals. Luo Feng nodded. He knows this. For example, if he buys the 9-stage Thunderblade, then in the Dojo of Limits, Underground Alliance, and Thunder Dojo's database, it will show Luo Feng bought the first 3 stages of the 9-stage Thunderblade. Then, Luo Feng can use the 9-stage Thunderblade without a problem. However, if Yang Wu can use the 9-stage Thunderblade without buying the instruction manual, he'll be arrested once he's discovered. This is because he's suspected of plagiarizing and spreading the 9-stage Thunderblade instruction manual, which violates Thunder God's ownership of the instruction manual. If you don't buy it, you don't have the right to learn it. If you let someone else buy it for you, then the database will only have the information that someone else bought it for you. Even if you buy it, you won't dare to learn it. And weapons and equipment don't have copyright. Luo Feng, write down all the weapons and equipment you want to buy. I'll buy them for you later, said Chingu. Okay. Luo Feng nodded and immediately went to find a pen and paper to write it down. All 5 series equipment. The battle uniform set is priced at 9 million. The Ghost Blade number 2 series is priced at 3 million. The Shield series is priced at 1.5 million. And the 10 throwing knives of the 6 series are priced at 1.5 million. The total is 15 million. Adding in the backpack, tactical communications watch, and other small tools, Luo Feng's equipment is complete. Luo Feng's home's 2nd floor, training hall. The morning sun shone in through the window, causing the entire training hall to be bright. Luo Feng wore a loose training uniform and sat cross-legged in the training hall. The training hall that was over 100 square meters was empty. Only Luo Feng sat cross-legged in the middle, and in front of him was an instruction manual, 9-stage Thunderblade. I heard the 9-stage Thunderblade is hard to learn. I wonder how hard it is. Luo Feng opened the instruction manual and started reading.